set the station, then jerk your knob off. That was our old billboard in Philadelphia, swear to God.
Really?
Well, the radios were different back then.
Yeah.
You'd tune them in with a little dialer thing on the left.
Of course, yeah.
Whatever side
The
that
knob,
was.
yeah.
So
On
the
the
joke
right.
was set it to, Eagle 106 in Philadelphia. So set it to 106 and then rip the knob off. But when he saw it up on a billboard, he kind of went, well, that's questionable taste.
Yeah.
But it was the 80s, and everything in the 80s was questionable taste. No matter what you've heard, it was even more questionable than that. So let's see. It's 5:47. I'm Danny Bonaduce. This is KZOK. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Paul, how are you?
Great, thank you.
We've been through this before with Paul and I this morning. The how are you? And how
Yeah,
you
we
doing?
have.
Doing well?
Yeah, I'm doing
Back's
really well.
good?
Yeah, it's much, much better.
And the cold that you had while dying of some weird back disease, is that gone?
Yeah, totally unrelated. And that was just a few days. I just had a little bit of a head cold. It wasn't as bad. Normally, if I get a cold, I
No,
get a
you
cold
weren't bad
pretty
at all. Like, I couldn't tell very often. You know, some words you'd sound stuffy and some you weren't. But then you had, in seriousness, you had a back problem. How's that?
Yeah, it's much better. It was weird because I got hit back to back, and well, so to speak,
To back, yeah.
or cold to back rather. And so everybody was like, "Wow, Paul's cold got much worse, or he just doesn't feel like coming to work for a couple of days."
Then you had bellyache too.
Let me just say this about that. I believe that would be your paranoia.
Yeah?
I don't think one person thought that. Oh, Paul's cold went right to his back. And now he's going to lay down with his feet up. His wife's going to shave him. His kid's going to massage his head.
Especially once the rumor started around the building that I'd had a heart attack
Yeah,
and possibly died.
the
Zach,
boss spread that rumor.
I know I started that rumor. I absolutely started that rumor.
Zach the overnighter was sure that I was dead.
Really?
Yeah.
I was kind of sure that Zach was not feeling that well, to be honest with you. But everything seems to be going incredibly well now. Well, I'm glad you're better. I'm glad your back is well. So, small matters, really. There's a chance that I am dressed like a clown. Now, I
Today?
didn't mean to be dressed. Right. If you look at me from where you are, you're going to say, no, man, you're not only not a clown, Mr. Bonaduce, because you
Yeah.
call me Mr. Bonaduce.
I
know
do,
that about
all
you.
the
It's kind
time.
of cool. You do not look not only do you not look like a clown, you look kind of cool in your. I think it's a David Bowie shirt, isn't it?
It is. I would say all of those things.
Yeah. But and it's a cross between blue and gray, which means if I were in the Civil War right now, both sides would shoot at me. And I don't know that that's a huge drawback for this shirt, but I just need you to get the vibe. So there's a David Bowie, possibly a Ziggy Stardust. I'm not sure what the shirt says. It's hard to see over my boobs. But then if you go down a little bit to where you probably can't see on Danny TV or over the computer monitors for you,
Yeah.
is my pants have turned orange. And now before they were orange, they were already stupid. Now they're stupid and orange. I think the sales lady said they were salmon. And that's when I sniffed them. And that's when she stopped laughing at me. When she was laughing right up until I started sniffing the pants.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. Like, the customer's always right. Let's sniff my jeans and see if they're salmon. But no, she didn't want to play. So anyway, so when they were salmon, then everybody would say, and I don't know that they meant this, cool pink pants. Because it turned pink really, a couple of washes of salmon.
And you think some of those people meant, cool pink pants, buddy.
Oh, all.
Okay, every single one of
Who
them.
identifies the color of your pants?
Not
Who
very
says
many people.
Not,
no.
not nice pants, nice Levi jeans. You don't say that. You say nice pants. So when they say nice pink pants, I know I'm being ridiculed. So
Remember, somebody said something to me about your pink pants in the parking lot downstairs. Somebody said, "Just want you to know."
Oh yeah, the guy took a picture of your license plate.
Somebody just walked up to your car and took a picture of your license plate. And I said, "Who?" He said, "I don't know who, but he has red hair and pink pants."
Yeah,
No,
I
that
guess I'm
narrows it down.
I guess I'm wearing these pants one more time. And just so I can make it clear to people listening home, because I told Sarah.
Yeah, what
'cause
happened?
I didn't realize how weird that sounded.
It sounds pretty
I
weird,
went right
man.
Because I started talking to the guy while I'm taking a picture of Sarah's license plate. And I said, hey, how's it going? And he said, and
Oh, it's
Sarah
that guy.
warned me
Yeah,
that he
yeah.
does that. So I'm not letting him off the hook. I'm going to talk to him so he says something.
Yeah,
so,
and make them uncomfortable by taking pictures of people's license plates.
Yes, while like, implying kind of your car could be next. So I never explained what I was doing there. So he wouldn't talk to me, so I made him talk to me. It was all uncomfortable for everyone involved.
So what were you doing there?
Taking pictures of her license plate.
But why?
Because I had just finished taking pictures of my license plate.
Oh, okay, that totally clears it up.
No, you don't need to know why on that?
Yes, I do want to know why.
Because you parked too far away for me to get a picture of your license plate.
Okay.
And now I'll tell you why. Does anybody know their license plate number?
All right, I do
And
remember
when you
that.
didn't know your license plate number, I was going to go, oh, well, Paul, yours is 3X21. Then I went, because that's exactly what happened. My plan up until that point was perfect. And then I went, oh, I'm going to read their license plates on a live radio show. I don't know that that's cool. They blur them out on TV. So then I just quit and moved along with something else. So now all Sarah knows is I'm downstairs in pink pants taking pictures of a license plate. So that's why. So we're going to have lots of fun trying to pretend. What was it? It was about some survey or something. The 9 out of 10 Americans are stupid and ugly.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I know. You said you had heard the majority of people don't know their blood type.
Right.
And we did know our blood type.
Not
and
me.
then-
Don't know. Refuse to learn. Shine them.
I know
did
mine,
you?
yeah.
Yeah, and I know mine.
Yeah, forget that.
But none of us know our license
None of
plate.
us
And I
know.
wondered what we would do if our car was stolen. I mean, I can identify it by make, model, color.
Yeah.
But that's all the information I can give them. Somewhere,
they
I'm
call
sure.
Pro Cars and Phil Bivens, Tacoma Dodge,
Yeah.
and they say, "What's the VIN number?" And then that's how they track.
Oh, that makes total sense.
Or we'd call Danny and say, "Are you wearing your pink pants? Because you took a picture of our license plates. Can you
Oh, that's
tell us
true.
what they
Give the
are?"
pictures.
I may still have the pictures, although I did kind of feel weird about having them after the guy said there was a lunatic with red hair and pink pants taking a picture of your license.
So why do you think you look like a clown today, though? Is it
Well-
your sneakers on top of
Well,
it?
I've got the blue, greenish, purplish shirt going on. The what are now, I think, fairly ridiculous orange pants, which all of this would have been okay if I hadn't brought it together with shiny purple shoes. And shiny purple shoes, I have to go, well, I think I'm dressing like a clown. Plus, there's a new radio station, Cube, is right here next to us, right?
Yeah.
The, I don't know how to do that. And do people still
Hip-hop
do
station.
that? Well, no, let's do that together.
They don't do that,
They don't
for
do
sure.
Talking to my daddy.
The
Are you
hip-hop
making
station.
balloon animals or tooting or
I am
rapping?
making rapping animals.
Yeah, that was world-class beatboxing right
Sure
there.
was. I couldn't remember that's what it called. But they're,
Oh, my God.
they're a shiny, happy-faced morning show over
Yes,
there.
they
They're
are.
Very
nice
exciting.
people and everything. And I don't want to say that I'm the elder statesman because I'm older and I've been in this job longer than they've been alive, which kind of irks me. But I don't want them to go, oh, there's Bonaduce. Yeah, when his television career wrapped up, he started being on radio and dressing like a clown. I think he's weird and I don't want to talk to him anymore. That's what I'm afraid of. But so now I'm walking around in shiny, which every one of these things on their own is still kind of ugly.
Well, yesterday, the sad news came out that Paul Allen had died. His cancer returned, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He died yesterday afternoon here in his hometown of Seattle. Young man, 65 years old. He never married, did not have any children. Estimated net worth north of $20 billion.
Wow.
He, of course, was very philanthropic and changed the Seattle landscape.
Yeah.
Saved the Seattle Seahawks from moving.
Where are they going to go? Do you know?
Los Angeles.
Where they're going to go to the Los Angeles
Yeah,
Seahawks?
it's 96, 97.
96, yeah. He bought the Portland Trail Blazers. He bought part of the Seattle Sounders. He, of course, made Mopop next to the Space Needle.
Yeah, Cinerama.
Yep.
So many things.
I was shocked on the news this morning that he bought Cinerama because it's just kind of, to you and me, it's huge. To him, it's like $20.
Yeah,
you know?
well, for
But it was
him,
on
it was-
he liked that street, he
Right.
said.
And where he had watched, Star Wars when he was
Right.
a kid. And
Yeah. Of course, a lot of people are paying respects, including Bill Gates, whose life was altered when Paul Allen encouraged him to drop out of Harvard to make Microsoft.
Normally I would say, hey, Paul, not cool encouragement. Don't tell a kid to quit school. It's
Yeah.
a very bad idea. But in this case, I think it worked out well for everybody. Anybody notice how Bill Gates, because they're showing a lot of pictures of him from school, not even Harvard, before that, at Lakeside School.
yeah,
Not
where they
far
went
away
to
is
school
now.
together, yeah.
Where they went to school. Bill Gates looks like a really old Bill Gates. Paul Allen looks like 9 different people
Yeah,
in his
the
stages.
beard.
The beard, and
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
gains
right.
some weight, and he loses some weight. He just looks. I'd have never recognized like the young photo and the older photo.
Derek, that music you're playing, was that his band?
Yeah, Paul Allen and the Underthinkers.
He was a really good guitar player.
That's what I hear.
Super into music, and I think that's why Mopop was so important to
Yeah.
him. Growing up with Jimi Hendrix in Seattle, was a big deal. So he will be missed. Paul Allen, dead at the age of 65. Your last chance to drive on the viaduct, still months away, but your last chance to drive under it has already passed.
Huh?
This past weekend, Alaskan Way moved west of the viaduct, reopening on Sunday with 1 lane of traffic in each direction. It will remain in this configuration for about 6 weeks while crews do utility and signal work. Today, they're getting together to discuss and have an open forum for the tolling that will happen, which is not going to be cheap.
No, and Paul and I have an idea about that.
Yeah, what's that?
That is leave them both open.
Yeah.
Charge half.
Or don't charge at all. But either way.
I think I don't mind the city paying for it, and other, that we're not taking money from, say, the homeless or from six kids, or from schools and balls and things like that, supplies. So I don't mind a toll as long as it's reasonable, but leave them both open. So if you're going to charge me $1, now you're charging me 50 cents. You didn't even have to build anything new.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like it too.
Thank you, Paul.
I feel so bad for all those businesses down on the waterfront.
Yeah.
Because it's been, I can't remember a time that there wasn't a disaster of construction down there.
It's very true.
And I mean, of course, they have the giant signs that say open during construction.
I can't. I mean,
But
I've
still.
been there a couple of times, but I've wanted to go there, say, if I've been there twice, I wanted to go 5.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
3 of those times, Amy said, no, it's just too much of a hassle.
Right.
There's no parking. There's
Yes.
nowhere to go. And she was right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to run down there. I go through Myrtle Edwards Park and then go down to the aquarium. And there have been times on foot where I can't figure out where to go.
Yeah.
Let alone when you're driving a vehicle trying to figure out where to go and where to park. It's tough. Well, of course, we know when this all does go through, there's going to be a lot of traffic issues. And that's one of the big concerns when this all does shut down. This morning, Derek will continue to keep you posted on the traffic, which is happening on their current roadways.
Is there still parking under the viaduct, do you know? Or is it just...
Not a lot.
Yeah, because
I was just
the
there.
road
and
shifted.
No, it's there's the smattering of parking on the side of the water,
Yeah.
right in front of the businesses.
Right.
But literally 100 cars out of 50,000 cars that want to be there, and the same thing, kind of a smattering. Now there's lots that you can pay, but not even a lot of those.
Yeah.
And when you get in, you'll be going back and forth like an idiot looking for
Right.
an open spot, and really you don't
Right.
find when you wait for somebody to leave and then gun it.
But you know what's crazy is they just changed this on Sunday. I haven't been down there in a car, so I don't know if those smattering of parking spaces even still exist because they moved the road
Right.
to where those parking spaces were.
At some point, they're going to have to fence it off if they're tearing down the viaduct.
There's huge sections fenced off right
Yeah.
now.
It's so
There's
crazy.
that's why you can't tell from one day to the next
Yep.
where to go. Like parking is parking in Seattle. There it's worse, but you can go over A Street and walk a little bit. You're a healthy young man. But when they're fencing stuff off and the fences are like 300 yards down the street the next morning, and
Yeah.
you can't prepare for it because they just move it in
Yep.
5 minutes.
In national and international news, according to a new CNN report, Saudi Arabia is prepared to admit that journalist Jamal Khashoggi was killed during an interrogation that went wrong. The kingdom is reportedly getting ready to say that his death happened during an interrogation before being removed from Turkey. This report will conclude that the operation was carried out, quote, without clearance, end quote, and those involved will be held responsible.
Yeah, you getting that?
Yeah.
King of Saudi Arabia had no idea that was happening. And
no
that
idea.
crown prince that everybody's the belle of the ball these days.
Yep.
He was, you can't do anything, especially at one of the embassies or anything, without that particular guy saying, yeah, kill that guy and chop him up. It'll be awesome, which is what I think he said, except in Arabic.
Yeah.
But, it's so weird. Like, hold your tongue. I learned this the hard way. I finally learned, hey, don't talk. Around 1990, if you have a real problem with the law or any authority, just wait. Get an attorney, whatever you do. Don't go, we didn't do it. We never did it. What are you talking about? You crazy son of a bitch. I don't even like you guys. Or your stupid country. Well, yeah, we killed them and cut them up, but we didn't mean it, And are they going to admit to cutting them up and taking them out in bags?
It's still a little vague exactly how they're doing this, but Donald Trump said he spoke to the Saudi king, who flatly denied knowing anything
Right.
about the disappearance.
Right.
And Donald Trump said after speaking to the king, he believes it could be rogue killers.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And they did have a group of cleaning crew arrive at the scene to preserve it. So someone is going to go in there, like you had suggested, Danny, at one point, somebody's got luminol, you've got chemicals, you can figure out, you can look for trace evidence. They have sent people in to look at this and to preserve the scene.
Well, which is it? Do you send in a cleaning crew to destroy the scene?
Yeah.
Or do you preserve the scenes? Now, you can't do the same with the
I'm
same
telling
crew.
you who went in, what they're doing in there
I
is
saw the
anyone's
cleaning
guess.
crew, and I'll tell you, that's my guess. And I'll tell you what they did. They sent in a cleaning room group, so you can't use the luminol. There's other things that will counteract that. I mean, they're sending in a cleaning crew while simultaneously possibly admitting that they did it.
Right.
That's because of blood splatter, man, because
Yeah.
they realize well, we can't find it all. There's no chance. And the Americans are going to come here and they're going to find it all. We better say something.
Yeah, we will see. A federal judge yesterday dismissed Stormy Daniels' defamation lawsuit against President Trump, saying it was rhetorical hyperbole rather than defamation. Now, she is separately suing Donald Trump and his former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, over the non-disclosure agreement, but the defamation lawsuit, she did not win.
That's so funny because when you say she's getting rid of the defamation lawsuit, what is the other lawsuit?
The other one is a lawsuit over the non-disclosure.
That's the one. If anybody has a lawsuit over the non-disclosure, it's Trump.
It's him, yeah.
Yeah, she signed a non-disclosure and then
disclosed.
Disclosed.
Yeah.
You can't do
I
that.
guess, so she's saying he didn't sign it. Therefore,
He
it
didn't
wasn't
sign it. He would
valid.
never sign it. He'd be crazy to have signed it. He
Put
signed.
an X on there instead.
No, he didn't sign an X. I don't think.
It's someone else signed
Someone
it.
else
Attorney
signed
sign it, yeah.
Well, if he didn't
Unless
sign
his
it,
name was X. That'd be funny.
then I guess it would make it, in theory, unenforceable. And she was allowed to speak out. Because two people need
we'll
to
see
sign
at the end of the lawsuit, but
non-disclosure.
that's not true. 2 people need to sign it. 9 people signed it. All sorts of people signed it.
Right, I'm saying what I'm guessing her motives
Argument,
are. I'm not
yeah.
saying who's right or who's wrong.
Right.
Who
or
knows?
not.
And Doritos, as it turns out, are more than just junk food for people with the munchies. They helped out police in San Bernardino, California, lure a pig the size of a mini horse, according to police, back home. This pig ran away.
It's a weird way to describe it.
Yeah.
The size of a mini horse or
is-
a large pig.
Is a mini horse a technical term?
Yeah, there is such an animal as a mini horse. It's
Yeah.
bred to be miniature.
It's not a Shetland pony.
No.
No, this is something separate.
Miniature horse.
A mini horse.
And is it a different size?
Yeah, a mini horse might even be smaller than a Shetland pony.
Wow, I want one in my house.
Yeah.
I want to kiss one and love one.
Can somebody please explain to me how you can bring a mini horse onto an airplane as
Yeah.
As a support animal.
as a support
emotional
animal?
support animal.
How is that possible that it's not just going number 2 everywhere?
I don't know.
I think it would be. In
Yeah.
fact, because I think we heard it got kicked off a train somewhere. There was somebody
that
had a
was
mini
life-size
horse.
I think.
Or was that a real
Yeah.
full size
I'm
horse?
confident the little one's a life-size horse.
I don't know. You'd have a lot of cleanup to do, I would think. Or
Yeah.
somebody would have a lot of cleanup to do.
Yeah.
Whose duty is that?
Do you have to? Certainly you got to pay extra. Do you have to buy a seat for the mini horse?
Maybe you do.
You got to have some money.
I would think that you do. Bills.
Whether your bills are cleaning up after a horse or whatever they are,
Right.
that money could help you out. Just text that word right now to 200 for your chance to win.
All right, back to the pig.
All
This, sometimes when you think of a pig, you might think of something cute. You might think of like a small little pig as opposed to a hog.
Yeah, they're adorable. When
This-
they're babies.
I think they're both kind of
super
cute
cute.
until they start rolling and swill and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think pigs are adorable.
This pig was huge.
Yeah.
It was a big old hog type
How?
of pig.
You gonna leave me alone on this, Paul?
How
big
huge
or
was
huge
it?
You should have left me
We'll
alone
work
on
on
that.
that.
They go to work
She
out.
said huge.
She did. You're absolutely right.
Paul, what's the difference between a pig and a hog?
I don't know. What's the difference between
No,
a
I'm
pig
being
and a
serious. You've got them at your house.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a difference. Well, I
Okay.
guess once you get towards butcher weight, then you're going to call it a hog. But
Okay.
I don't know that there's a technical difference between a pig and a hog.
Well, this
I
one
would
was
have thought
gigantic.
for sure that there was.
I think it is weight. I think it is
Yeah, that's what I
size.
think.
But I didn't know if maybe it was gender. Paul was trying to tell us, what was it?
Have you ever seen a pig's gender? They're curly. It's
Yeah.
crazy. They have a curly who's
It's weird.
You were trying to tell us a difference. I think, which beast was it? A sheep, and then the female sheep, and
Is it you?
Is
a
it you?
ewe,
Yeah.
and then there was another
A
one. and-
ram?
yeah.
Male.
And then we couldn't keep it all straight. So I thought maybe you were a pig expert as well. This pig ran away from home.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the deputies had a bag of Doritos in
Oh my
her
God,
lunch
this is
bag.
the Dorito story.
You never
right.
My
finished
mind
it?
wandered a little bit. Sorry.
Well, we got off track talking about mini horses.
Yeah.
This woman had, or sorry, man, the cop had a bag of Doritos in her bag, his bag, whatever, doesn't matter, and was able to lure the hungry pig back home. And it's just like a cartoon. Held the bag out, and the pig just sort of ran and the deputy walked backwards until it went right back inside.
Oh, that's adorable.
They secured the pen. They said it was actually really fun.
I leave little cat treats out in a line to make my cat go from one place to another. And what she does, she moves her head while laying on her fat belly and eats the one or two she can reach without moving. And then that's it. There's just a line of cat treats. There must be 10 of them in my house right now.
Japanese people are renowned for their manners and politeness.
So desu ne, arigatou gozaimashita.
What?
I said, that is so. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay.
Well, this latest incident shows just how far that politeness can go. A man recently went into a convenience store and asked the manager if he could rob the place.
Yeah.
He was refused. He left and later turned himself into police.
For attempted robbing?
Yes.
Wow, that guy is polite and stupid.
He told the manager, "I've come in with the intent to intimidate you and rob this store. May I ask you please to cooperate with me?" He said, "No, you may not. I cannot do that." So the dude just left. And then later on,
Riddled with guilt.
he went to a police station and said, "I just had an attempted robbery incident."
I wonder if they'll arrest him there for that, because we'd kick him out of the police station if he was
I
unarmed.
think so.
We'd say, get out. Do something stupid or do something stupid.
They did charge him with attempted robbery.
Huh.
Very strange,
Yeah,
right?
very strange.
Did he have a weapon or anything?
Yeah, they said he did have a
Oh.
knife, but he never pulled it out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now he's got a knife. Now I think he has,
Maybe you got
I
arrested.
think he has to go to Japanese jail.
Yeah.
Even though he never pulled it out?
Yeah, if I go into a store with a gun in my belt and say, give me all your money, and they say no and I run away, I've broken several laws, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One man took the touch tank concept a little at the aquarium this weekend. Video has been posted online, which we did not post at KZOK.com because it features full frontal nudity.
Oh, it's the best kind of video.
Yeah, what are you, crazy?
Well, this man can be seen swimming in the shark tank.
What?
Yep. Swimming in the shark tank.
That's a little different.
Yeah.
He goes into the aquarium, takes all his clothes off, and then goes for a swim with the sharks. Wanted to swim with sharks. And they said, thankfully, this aquarium, well, like most aquariums, the sharks are very well fed. So they weren't starving and didn't want to eat the guy out of extreme hunger.
Let this be known, Paul. I will fight any full-size shark as long as it's been in the aquarium for a long time and has been fed a lot.
It's been well
Then I will
fed.
go there and fight it right after the puma.
Now, they did point out, some people who saw this video, that aquariums, museums, and such often have cocktail nights.
Yeah.
It was one of those nights, so he likely had imbibed a few cocktails
Yeah.
before stripping naked and swimming with sharks.
I've heard of swimming with the fishes, but this is stupid.
Well, he did leave the scene, and police are presently looking for him, so he is not in custody.
You know, if they served him booze at the aquarium and he didn't react well to it, it's kind of mostly lands on the aquarium.
Right.
You've got booze flowing out. I'm attracted to a bowl full of fish. I can swim. I'm drunk now. I'm going in. Yeah, I think that's as much on the aquarium as I think they share responsibility for that one.
You go to something like that and like you find the extra roll of drink tickets, and that guy
Yeah.
just had a whole bunch of drink tickets on him.
Yeah. There was an unusual job advertisement. It said, "Wanted, cat chief. Location, Zelenogradsk, Russia. Your duties will be tending to the town's approximately 70 stray cats." Turned out 80 people applied for this job.
Yeah, I'd apply for that job.
Sounds fun, right?
That's
That
not
sounds
fun.
This
Till
is
one
a-
of those Ruski cats bites you and you swell up and you have sepsis or whatever.
They have a cat statue that was erected in the town center. They have a lot of different cat stores, and they're very cat-centric. And the person who has gotten the job was given a bicycle and a uniform with a bright green jacket and a bow tie and a hat. She has a budget. She gets to hand out food to all the cats and pet them and get paid to do
Yeah,
it.
okay, I'm absolutely aligned to do that.
So she's supposed to take care of him, not get rid of him.
No,
Take-
she's going to
take care
feed
of
them. Love them.
Yeah.
Caretaker.
They're
Does
a
she
draw
also-
for some people.
Sure,
Amy
yeah.
does this for me a lot of times. We'll be going somewhere and I'll be on the fence about whether it's a good idea, and they go, and then there's the cat sanctuary 3 miles out of town. Okay, let's go there.
Yeah.
I want to go. There's the cat island
Yeah.
in Japan, which is really good.
I want to go there.
There's a floating, like a barge island for cats, and I forget where it is. Somewhere
wow.
off Greece, maybe. But they're really well fed. But you have to take a boat out there, a dinghy or something to feed them. It's crazy. And in Montenegro, which I can't believe I know this because it's the size of a postage stamp, but I was on a cruise that stopped there. They have famous cats and they're super well behaved, and they're awesome, and everybody goes out of their way to feed them. You can feed them. They discourage feeding on the tables, but right underneath the tables, giving them scraps and playing around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Aw.
Yeah, they're cat centric.
And to get paid to take care of them. It's
Yeah,
so
it
It's
cost
awesome.
me a couple of grand to see those cats.
cool. After launching a failed smartphone in 2008, San Francisco's company Palm disappeared from the tech world. Well, now their co-founders are
I
trying.
had that, I think.
You might have had the Palm Pilot,
I had a Palm something. Yeah.
and it was like a what would you
It
call
looks
it?
like,
a personal organizer.
Yeah, is that what it was?
Yeah.
It's been a long time, man.
Yeah, I think it was one of the first ones I remember that had like a little stylus.
Yes.
with
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I had that one.
Well, they are back with a new phone, and it is tiny. It's really cute, 3.8 inches, and it's only 0.3 of an inch thick, making it about half the size of an iPhone XS Max or the Samsung Galaxy S9. This is a cute, tiny little phone which runs on Android and has all the great little features and stuff, but it's itty bitty, cute, and tiny.
Does it have the "Hey, find me when I lose this tiny little phone" feature?
Yeah.
Well, it to me doesn't look so small that you would lose it any more so than another phone, but it doesn't have as tiny of a price tag, tinier than an iPhone, but it's $349. And Steph Curry, basketball superstar, who is a Palm backer, is going to be starring in their marketing campaign.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
It's got to be hard to text on it. I mean, you can do text to speech, and a lot of people do that. But
I do that.
True.
cutting that phone in half and making the keyboard that much smaller.
I didn't even think of that. It would be harder to text. I don't know if it has a stylus, because maybe that would help.
Use that, yeah.
But how do you not lose a stylus?
You don't. You lose them all
You
the
lose
time.
a stylus,
They're like
yeah.
guitar picks. They just vanish
Yeah.
somewhere weird and show up months later.
By the way, I saw one on the floor the other day, so you might have a guitar pick behind you.
I might. Then again, doesn't Nate play guitar?
Sure, probably.
Yeah, I blame Nate.
Yeah.
Probably just because most people do.
Yeah, everybody plays guitar.
Yeah,
right?
everybody plays guitar.
Well, too. Nate plays. I've seen him out in bars.
Oh, I see. This switched into you being a dick, and I didn't even see it coming.
It's time for today's Things Are Not Right in Florida's Story of the Day.
Yay!
Actually, pretty cool story out of Florida this morning, and I don't say that a lot. Well, you know that Florida has been ravaged by Hurricane Michael, and there's been a lot of devastation, people cleaning up, people still looking for loved ones, family members, friends. A call for help by a Florida family after the hurricane was answered thanks to a woman's keen eye when scanning satellite data. Amber G was looking at NOAA's interactive aerial map trying
She
to
a rapper? Amber G into
Yeah.
his house.
She was trying to look in on her grandmother's property. So NOAA gave out, you can go online and look at their satellites, look at all of their aerial maps. So she was checking out this property when she got real close and noticed the word help written out in the yard. It turns out she thought Grandma and her other two relatives had been evacuated. They did not get out in time, so they were able to get fallen trees and branches and spell the word help in the front yard. Amber G told the cops, told authorities, who went and rescued them.
Wow. People survive.
You know what? They will, and they'll be rescued, and life is good. But I'm not as worried about them as I was 10 seconds ago when I found out, oh, they're all healthy enough to lift logs and make letters. Good. Just wait your turn, and food will be coming. Relax.
And nobody knew they were there, so they might have died from lack of food and water had she
Yeah.
not helped them.
Totally could have happened.
Oh, Florida.
Oh, Florida.
Oh, Florida.
We are going to be
By
back.
the way, that's an episode of Gilligan's Island.
Spelling out the help
Yeah,
with the rocks.
But
or-
instead, they know logs on fire
Logs.
for astronauts going overhead. I can't believe I remember this.
for
And
astronauts.
Astronauts in a spacesuit, in a
Wow.
space thing to go overhead and see it. So they set the logs on fire that said SOS, but somehow Gilligan tripped over one of the logs and kicked it. So now the SOS sign actually spells Saul. And it turns out one of the astronauts was named Saul, and it was his birthday. And he thought it was a birthday thing. So it's
Oh,
a lot
my
like that if
goodness.
your name is Help.
We will be right back with some music news. What member of the 27 Club is about to get a biopic, and the drama surrounding who will play this musician on the big screen? We've got entertainment. We've got sports. A big change for one of your Seattle Mariners. All next. Starting with some music news. In a recent New Yorker interview with a director named Luca Guadagnino,
Yeah.
who is the director of the movie Call Me By Your Name, the Academy Award-winning movie, and upcoming film called Suspiria, he revealed he is working on a film adaptation of Bob Dylan's 1975 classic Blood on the Tracks. This film was written and will tell a multi-year story set in the 70s that draws on the album's central themes. So basically, Bob Dylan's song and album being made into a movie.
And the themes of the songs, like if this song was called I Jumped on a Rail Car with an Old Man, all right? Which, by the way, that should be a title to something almost
Yeah, it should.
immediately.
Yeah, it should.
Would then an old guy and a musician jump on a train? Is that what
so.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and I don't really understand their description of what's happening. Multi-year story set in the 70s. When they're repressing, we dramatize the repression and what that does to them. We dramatize what happens when you let your passions take over too much. It's a
All
little
right.
vague. I'd prefer old man on a train. What was it?
Jumping on a train with an old man.
Jumping on a train with an old man.
I was
That
gonna
is
say
not
hobo,
one of the
but
tracks
It's not?
of the album, no.
But there's maybe that was Freudian because I forgot. It's about blood on the tracks.
Yeah. If you see her, say hello. I guess in that scene they're going to say hello to her if they see her.
Oh, yeah, maybe, yeah. uh-huh.
Probably.
If I
Shelter
see her.
from the storm and buckets of rain.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, that's the
Ooh.
end.
But in the movie, it's actual buckets, and they kill the guy playing Bob when they fall from the sky.
Yeah.
Well, this dude who, as I said, did Call Me By Your Name, which was an Academy Award, either nominated or winning movie, his new movie called Suspiria is a horror remake. It's supposed to be super scary, and it's coming out on November 2nd.
You know, a scary title in your movie, something nobody wants to say. Suspiria. What's it even mean?
Suspiria.
Does it mean
It's
suspense?
a Def Leppard song. Okay, that was Hysteria. The score
I'd
was...
have hung with that a little longer. That was funny. Like, take your shots when they come.
The score was composed by Tom York from Radiohead. They're going to be releasing that as an album, but the movie does look super scary, but it's a horror classic from the 1970s.
Now, Bob Dylan is not the guy that's a member of the 27 Club, because if so, you have dyslexia, because that guy's at least 72.
Yeah.
Good point. No, I do have another story. But first, I want to tell you about King Crimson. Their singer, guitarist, and flautist,
They have a flautist.
they have a flautist.
Only ridiculous rock and roll bands have a flautist.
Well, they
I was
do.
waiting for Tori to yell at me.
Yeah, are King Crimson one of your? I know you're a prog rock person, but do you like them in particular, Tori?
Oh, I love King Crimson, but I like the 80s era.
Oh,
King
yeah,
Crimson.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like the old U2. Something my wife at the time said to me, and I thought she was being a ridiculous person. Now they're old, round, long enough for there to be old U2, but at the time
Yeah.
there wasn't.
Their old U2's old stuff is so good, and their new stuff just sounds different. So I'd imagine it's the same for King Crimson.
Wait till they send it to your phone. They don't give you any choice in the matter.
King Crimson reconvened in 2013. They have released several live LPs, but say they are thinking about new music as in a studio album as opposed to releasing live music.
And it wasn't King Crimson the answer to a question?
It was yesterday,
Okay, I didn't want to give
7:20.
anything away. 7:20, we do this game called Rock Royalty, and
Yeah.
yesterday our first question was King Crimson, I believe.
It's true.
Stick around for the days at 7:20. It's almost that stupid.
What is our prize?
I don't know.
It's VIP passes for a pre-screening of Bohemian Rhapsody, the Queen biopic.
Yeah, I can't
Heck
wait.
yeah.
Heck yeah.
On to the story I was telling you about, the 27 Club member.
Yeah.
It's not somebody from King Crimson. It is not Bob Dylan. It is Amy Winehouse.
Oh, yeah.
Amy Winehouse, who died tragically at the age of 27. Her life story is going to be made into a biopic.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Literally.
This will be adapted for the big screen by a guy who wrote the comedy movies Kinky Boots and It's a Boy Girl Thing. Her family has signed the contracts to allow this movie to be made. Now, a lot of people have said this has been something they've been discussing for a couple of years. Make the biopic for Amy Winehouse. It's a very interesting story.
Right.
And a lot of people said the perfect person to play her would be Lady Gaga.
Oh,
Yeah.
she would be, yeah.
She would be, except.
Except her family says no.
Who's
Lady Gaga's family?
Amy Winehouse's father.
Oh, that makes more sense.
But he's an idiot, doesn't know anything.
Well, he does bring up a good point.
All right.
Her father, again, Amy Winehouse's father, said this. We've been approached many times. It's obviously something that we are going to do 100%, and we want somebody to portray Amy the way she was. Funny, brilliant, charming, and horrible. She was. There's no point in making the film because you want to do it the right way. He said, it wouldn't be Lady Gaga. She doesn't speak our kind of English. I wouldn't mind having somebody completely unknown, but somebody who's London, Cockney, somebody who looks a bit like Amy. Lady Gaga is not that person.
She is that, to be honest with you, in a couple of ways, I say. First of all, everybody's acting.
Right, exactly.
No, everybody come. You guys come over here. You British people come over like crazy, and you all do American accents. All of you. What's the guy now in the El Royal Hotel? I love him. Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
He hasn't had an Australian accent in one picture. He has the accent of a god when he plays Thor, and right now he has a drunk surfer American in that Royale movie. So shut up. Amy Winehouse's dad. Plus, in my opinion, because he is litigious, he's a thief and a liar.
Why?
No, I just want to say something tough. No, because he sold her out. He showed up at one of her vacations with, I think it was her new husband, or no, they were living together, and he showed up with a film crew, and he had sold them rights to her. And it's actually, that's in the documentary about her life where she says, Daddy, please. So I'll shine that guy in his opinions.
Well, I got to say, I agree with him that Lady Gaga wouldn't be the right person. I think
Just
somebody...
because she's too well known, like it
Yeah.
would be distracting. I
Yep.
get that,
I
but
get
everything
that.
else doesn't make sense. It's acting.
But
She shouldn't talk.
Hello, governor.
Right.
I'm trying to go to rehab. My daddy, he says, no. There, hire me.
I mean, you guys complained so much about the movie Venom and Tom Hardy's weird accent.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Well, it's
Hire
terrible. He
somebody
fails.
who speaks the way that Amy Winehouse spoke, which is
All
more
right,
like
so
what you just did, Danny.
Then do the 50 American actors and Australian actors I can think of, do we just kick them out of this country and they don't get to do their movies?
I hear a lot of people slip up in movies,
too.
and it drives me crazy. Hire actors that speak the native accent.
Well, then don't hire
tone.
actors, hire natives.
No, I'm saying it. Chris Hemsworth, you're telling me there wasn't another tall, super handsome dude who didn't have an accent?
I'm sure there was.
But he was the best
He was
person
the best
for the
for the
job.
job.
Just like the entire cast of The Walking Dead are doing Southern accents, and they're all British.
That's
that was
true.
very well done,
is
man.
true.
Yeah.
I don't find them slipping up as much.
Right. No, I agree. Somebody should do it well. But if
Yeah.
Lady Gaga can do it well, why not?
So
have
that's
her?
your opinion, that's your stance, that someone should do it well.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm with Paul on this.
On to Kanye West.
And who hasn't done that?
Kanye West was supposed to take part this week in a mental health talk, a conference, a program called New York Times Talks Program. He was
given advice on mental health. He's the one like leading the talk.
Yeah, it was people
I think that's
sharing their
completely reasonable.
story, talking about success, anxiety, mental illness, their own health struggles. Charlemagne the God is one of the big people who is partaking in this. There's a couple other people.
When did that start happening?
That you name yourself so and so the something. Chance the rapper.
This guy the God.
Right.
I don't trust any of it.
Well, they have.
Besides, that job's been taken.
They've
God?
said
Yeah.
there's a stigma of when it comes to mental health, especially in the Black community, and they wanted to have these talks to encourage other people of color to get help, to seek help. Well, they said after Kanye West visited Donald Trump in the White House, they said he is not, he's no longer invited because clearly he's
Because it's not
struggling.
necessary. Everybody saw him and went, "Oh, I should go get help." Do I sound like that?
I think it's shameful. You're
Yeah.
doing the thing that you can for people in mental health, and there's a guy obviously suffering, and you dump him just because he made it to the White House to be crazy. He was crazy all the way, and everybody kept inviting him. I think that's shameful. If you do something on cancer, you and your newspaper do some show on cancer, and I show all the signs of cancer, and you boot me out because you don't like it, that is shameful behavior. Kanye should be the first person there. Why? Because he's not kidding. He's a crazy person. And the biggest difference between Kanye and I, besides talent, is I take my meds on time every single
Right.
day. And I don't behave like that. And I don't do... Man, if I had $1 for every time I did that to anybody but the president... Oh, they did meet Nixon. I don't know if I was crazy that day. But anyway, shame on you, shame on you, shame on you. That poor guy is suffering like crazy. That he's rich and famous and married to a Kardashian. That may not make things better. It certainly might make things worse. But I don't think kick a guy out for being crazy when your subject is people being crazy.
Well, here's what Charlemagne the God said Normalizing being mentally healthy is a conversation I really wanted to have with Kanye because he's been so vocal about his own mental health struggles. Unfortunately, I think to have that conversation with him right now would not be productive and a total distraction from the point of the conversation, which is to eradicate the stigma of mental health, especially in the Black community. People talked about that meeting with Donald Trump saying, oh my gosh, he needs help. Nobody's helping him.
Right.
And he has been diagnosed and he is on meds. Something seems to be awry with Kanye West, and maybe to have him on that stage would be to exploit what he's going through, and they don't want to do that.
Maybe. I say no. I say Kanye West crazy, and you want to get Black people to know that they should take their medicine for being crazy. It's a shame to kick Kanye off.
I think the other issue, though, is in that White House meeting, he said he doesn't believe the diagnosis. And I don't know if he said something about whether he was taking his meds or not, but he was saying that he doesn't believe the diagnosis. I don't know that that's a great message to send to people.
Why
that,
not?
that you shouldn't seek treatment.
When everybody in the audience knows that he's wrong lung, he can't breathe, all his hair fell out, whatever it is, same thing. Of course, if he's going to be crazy, then he should be crazy because that's the message.
Turns out not everybody wanted to watch Donald Trump on 60 Minutes. A lot of people wanted to watch football and the new shows on the CW. In fact,
Really?
the ratings for 60 Minutes were extremely low. They said it brought in the lowest for any Donald Trump interview. The numbers are decent, 11.29 million viewers, but did pale in comparison to the NFL, which brought in almost 14. And turns out a lot of people were watching the reboot of Charmed and Supergirl. Those are on the CW.
But if the numbers are still okay, if it's over 11 million, that's fairly good.
And they said it was not a huge draw. It was the lowest for Donald Trump appearing. The last time he appeared on 60 Minutes, 18.8 million viewers.
Was he running for president then?
No, 5 days after the election.
Well, okay. Yeah. I think 11 million is, I think, I don't know that you have to look to say he's an idiot. I don't know you have to go look at those ratings where if you really look, they're about the same. They're less than 5 days after he became the crazy president. I think people are really trying hard. When you don't have, just stand back and let the guy self-destruct.
Like when he comes out later today and says 43 million people watched him on 60 Minutes.
Yes, exactly.
That's when.
Let's take a look at sports.
Sports.
Sports brought to you by Bradley Johnson Attorneys. If you're facing a DUI, call 1-800-DUI-AWAY. The Sounders are back in action tomorrow versus Orlando City. Match time is 4:30. And the Milwaukee Brewers got a 2-1 lead over the LA Dodgers after Game 3 of the NLCS last night. 4-0 final. It was a good night for Wisconsin sports fans because the Green Bay Packers also won. They were neck and neck for the entire night.
Yep. Yeah.
And then a last-second winning field goal. This was the kicker who
missed 5? No, 4.
5.
Yeah,
I think
4
he missed
or 5.
5.
Yeah,
Either way,
four
too
field
many.
goals and an extra point.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they people were a little nervous. It's all coming down to his foot.
Yeah.
Can he do it? And yes, he can.
He can, yeah.
Crosby had a great kicking game.
I think I'd still fire him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a bad
Was
day?
it in one game?
One game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess because he had a bad day.
Yeah.
There are people, like we can have a bad day and the show wasn't entertaining as it should have been and we'll be back tomorrow. But if, say, I don't know, you were the president and you have the lunch codes and you push them, that's more than a bad day. You have to be held responsible.
Well, I always look at this stuff from the fantasy sports perspective as well. A lot of people playing fantasy football after Crosby missed all of those kicks. Most people dumped him.
Yeah.
If you had hung on to him yesterday, you would have gotten like 24 points or something insane.
And do you get more for a game winner?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Depends.
So what do you get?
Different leagues, but it's all different points allocations. So you get 3 points if it's a field goal. You get 1 point.
But you have to know that you have those points. You see them, like my kicker did this, I'm giving myself these points, right? There's not a committee.
It's online, so it's all tracked by
Computerized.
computers.
Oh, and you play with other people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Seems kind of fun.
But
I'm not doing it, but it seems kind of fun.
a lot of people said the same thing as you, Danny. We should just get rid of him. He's terrible. He just had a bad day. Plus, who do you replace him with? Because all the kickers have been missing like crazy.
They have.
awful
That's,
for
that's a fact. It's nice to report that a field goal saved the day.
33-30 was the final of last night's game. Not a lot of people saw it, but a terrible incident occurred at the New England Patriots Kansas City Chiefs game.
All right, now I saw that game, so I didn't see it because I'd know.
I watched the game and I did not see it. I But then everybody did see it as it was captured on camera and replayed. A fan, once Tyreek Hill for the Chiefs scored a touchdown and was like running and had to stop himself before he got into the end zone where the seats are. He got very close to the fans, which is common. One of those fans threw a beer in his face.
Oh.
Not cool.
Also not completely uncommon, though. Usually
No.
it happens in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
However, Tyreek Hill was pretty furious, and the New England Patriots have banned him for life.
Tyree?
No, they banned the
The
fan.
fan?
Remember, this just happened with the Seahawks
Yeah.
and
we had this,
Jacksonville.
yeah.
Banned that fan for life. You can't throw beer in
You
a
can't.
player's face. Not cool. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have fired defensive coordinator Mike Smith because they had a big loss to the Atlanta Falcons, 34-29. So they fired their defensive coordinator.
See? Have a bad day, you're fired.
Yeah.
That's right.
I better watch out.
I don't know how I would tell.
Thanks. That's
Not
actually
the
been
way that was supposed to come out.
That's actually been my plan the whole
Oh,
time.
you're doing great. Now that was intentional.
Broadcaster Bob Robertson announced he is retiring.
Bob Rob.
Yeah. He is retiring as the voice of Washington State sports.
Yeah.
The Hall of Fame broadcaster says age is behind his decision. He was in his 52nd year
Wow.
calling for the Cougs. He started being the play-by-play voice in 1964,
Yeah.
then moved over to the analyst chair for the past 7 seasons.
Jeez.
And he did Husky games before he did Coug games. And lately he's been doing Rainier's baseball as well.
Oh,
At
Busy
that
guy.
at that advanced age.
Well, you gotta retire, right? Eventually.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You know, what an amazing, amazing career. I just know a lot of people miss, like when Vin Scully retired, you miss hearing those voices are comforting. So well wishes to
Go Cougs.
broadcaster.
You know,
Bob Robertson.
it's got to be a thing. Like some certain things are rote. You just know them. You know the plays back and forth. So if any even they generally looks like that, you know what to call. But these baseball players and other athletes with these names, how does an older cat remember? I can't
Yeah.
remember my wife's name half the time. But you know those guys have super weird names
Yeah.
to remember. This who's on first? I don't know who's on second.
Right, exactly.
Something like that. But in all seriousness, they have weird names.
And one Seattle Mariner can now call himself an American. Nelson Cruz revealed in an Instagram post yesterday that he has been sworn in as a U.S. citizen.
Yay!
He is a native of the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, I need more millionaires of color in America as citizen. I think that shows who we are and who we're becoming. I think.
Yeah.
He said on his post in both Spanish and English, mission accomplished. Next
Missione a complimentos.
Close.
All right.
Sounds right to me.
Yes, I think to me. Although I might have said you're complimented that you're handsome.
He said, next stop, registering to vote. Congratulations,
Vota.
Nelson Cruz.
That one I'm right about, I think.
Game
Maybe.
3 between the Boston Red Sox and the Astros happens this afternoon with a 2:09 start time. Series is tied at 1-1. And that's a look at your sports brought to you by Bradley Johnson Attorneys at 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
Let us discuss this 1-800-DUI-AWAY thing. If you get behind the wheel and you've had anything over a .8, and believe me, that's not that hard to do, and you get pulled over, you're probably going to go to jail, at least for the evening, and bail out. You're going to lose your drug. Your life's going to turn upside down. Instead, call 1-800-DUI-AWAY. They'll fight for you to meet in Seattle, Everett, or Tacoma. So if the unfortunate does happen to you and you get a DUI, don't delay. Call 1-800-DUI-AWAY. That's 1-800-DUI-AWAY. All right, let me tell you this. We've discussed it already this morning. It's really fun, and you want to play. 720 Rock Royalty. Win VIP passes to see an exclusive premiere of the Queen biopic Bohemian Rhapsody. Looks awesome.
There's a new article out with tips on how to win over your significant other's parents.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily about making a first impression. It's about the relationship. You know, having a relationship with your in-laws for some people is really difficult. It's contentious. Sometimes you think your in-laws or your significant other's parents don't like you, and you got to do something to try to win them over.
I think that one a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've had more in-laws than all of you combined.
Sure.
That's
Right?
true.
Everybody in this whole room, including the kids. So I've had different relationships. My first wife, I never even met them, but I heard they hated me, which I thought was weird. My second marriage, they hated me, but for pretty good cause, so I'm not mad at them. And then my third marriage, which would be the lovely and talented Amy, it was, I was close to a 50-year-old man, and she was 24, 25. Just
Yeah.
right off the bat, that's creepy and weird, and you don't like it. Plus, they had seen Breaking Bonaduce, so I went out of my way to please them.
Yeah, did you do something in particular to try to win them over, to impress them?
Well, I gave, this sounds more significant than it is, I gave my father-in-law a car.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
I had what I refer to all the time as a 1967 GTO convertible. It was not. It was a 1967 like Impala convert, whatever it is. It looked just like it, and they had done some work to make it a GTO, but it wasn't. And I thought, well, it was about a $25,000 car. It was a $3,000 car with all the monkey in that had been done with it. So I gave it to my father-in-law, but it looked like a major gift.
Oh, cool.
wow.
Yeah. So I gave the man a car. Not bad.
That's a good way to
Yeah.
impress your significant other's family.
And you guys have a great relationship now, right?
Yeah, I have a great relationship with the whole family. Him, my mother, my father-in-law, who I always point out is 6'4" and 4 years younger than I am, and I still like him. I forgive him for all that stuff.
You guys listening, did you do something to win over or impress your significant other's families? We would love to hear your story. Call us 800-252-1025 or text in 90627.
There is an article out that talks about tips to win over your significant other's parents. And the question for you is, did you ever do anything to win over, a kind of cool thing, to win over or impress your significant other's family? Here's the phone number, 1-800-252-1025, or text to 90627.
Yeah, sometimes you want to do it early on in a relationship just in case they become your husband or wife. And other times you got to do it once you're already married because they don't like you.
Yeah.
Let's talk to Wayne in Seattle.
Hiya, Wayne.
Hello, you guys are the best. I love you every morning.
Well, thanks. We love you too, Wayne. What do you got for us?
I gave my in-laws a divorce
What does that mean?
from my wife.
So they didn't
They
like
wa-
you, so to win them
No,
over,
they
you
didn't-
divorced their
they-
daughter?
Yeah, exactly. And then I was all of a sudden a nice guy.
That will happen. I also did that for my current in-laws. I divorced the wife I had when I met their daughter.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know, I
that's
was
a
still-
helpful thing.
I mean, there were no secrets about it or anything like that. And I had already introduced Amy to my wife at the time. So we're getting a divorce because I thought, young girl in Hollywood, her mom probably told you if some Hollywood guy says, hey, he swears to God he's getting a divorce, he's lying.
Sure.
So I said, here, get in the car. We drove up to my wife's house today. Amy, Gretchen, Amy, you two be pals. That did not happen.
They were not pals?
They were not great pals.
800-252-1025. Did you do something to win over or impress your significant other's family? That's what we're asking. Give us a call. Let's hear from Dave in Shelton.
Hey, Dave.
Good morning, you people.
What do you
What do
mean, you people?
Well, actually, it kind of backfired. I was coming off a 3-day bender, and I thought I'd mow the lawn. We live on a family farm, so there's a couple acres of grass, and I lost the wheel off the carriage, so I was throwing rocks at the cars. I was smashing up the planters, not realizing it. My father
wow.
came out. And
So did that impress him? It doesn't sound like it would have impressed him.
Yeah, so he just came out and he goes, you drinking? I go, well, yeah, the lawnmower's got a beer holder.
Yeah, you've got a valid point there. And I think, Paul, you're thinking of only one definition of the word impress. I'll bet he totally impressed those people.
right.
Man, you see that bad, that's a bad impression forever.
Yeah. Well, that's what can happen in these situations. You go out of your way to try to win over or impress your significant other's family. That doesn't mean you're successful.
It doesn't always
No,
work.
it does.
No.
When I introduced Gretchen and Amy, one of the first things that my ex-wife did to make herself endeared to my new girlfriend was, oh, sweetheart, we've got to go to the place together and be pals.
800-252-1025. Did you do something to win over or impress your significant other's family? You, of course, can text 90627.
Crazy Mary checked in on the text line. She says how she impressed her husband's family. She married him when no one else would.
No, there you go.
That's not very nice.
And he was able to shoo away all those other men that were looking to marry you.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're the perfect couple, to be honest with you. I just saw a story on the
pretty
news, and I hope the moment is over. So I guess it's cool. So a tree fell next to the freeway, landed on a lady's car, just like Crazy Mary, except killed her. Just the other
wow.
day. Just
That's
the
terrible.
other day, yeah.
That is terrible.
So Crazy Mary, God bless, huh?
DJ in Puyallup installed a new roof on his mother-in-law's house, and that impressed her.
I bet it did. I invite my mother-in-law to visit us, which I think helps maintain our relationship.
That you want her to come and spend
Yeah.
time with you? Yeah.
Yep.
It's important.
Why, is there an option in that?
To not invite your mother-in-law. to
That's
visit.
an option? I never knew that was that. Paul live. No, you don't live with you live with your actual parents.
With my parents,
right?
yeah,
Right.
but my wife, lives with her in-laws.
Right, exactly right. Because I didn't know that there was any way around inviting your in-laws over. I thought that was kind of came with the job.
Well, typically it's, Amy would invite her parents, but if you go out of your way and invite them, maybe say that you're going to surprise Amy by having her mother fly out, that would be something.
That would be a surprise. Yes, it would.
So you're saying you're not going to do that?
Paul, did you do
They're
something?
there all the time in my house. Like
Yeah.
they come and go, and we come and go all the time.
Yeah.
It's that kind of family, and I'm not completely comfortable being that close and friendly, but we are.
Paul, did you do something to win over or impress Holiday or maybe another girlfriend's family?
Holiday's family, I fed them. So I had them over and cooked for them. Anytime I went over to her house, I would offer to help out in the kitchen or help out on the barbecue or whatever.
Yeah, I got a
And-
brother-in-law that does that.
Yeah, and she Holiday doesn't cook at all. So I think they were really happy that she was still going to be able to eat once she moved out of their house.
But that's a nice thing for you to offer to do
Yeah.
as well, because a lot of people, when you go to someone else's home, you would just let them cook for you. You actually helped out and did stuff in the kitchen.
And she said too that her dad would never let anybody touch the barbecue, but that it was impressive that I was helping out around the kitchen and stuff, and he let me take over and cook the food.
Right.
I have a
at you go.
brother-in-law named MacDara, which I think is a really cool name.
That's
Well,
his first name.
Yeah,
Okay.
MacDara.
That is
something
cool.
else Irish. But I'm the golden son-in-law. Like, you got to love me most. I'm the nicest. I suck up the most, whatever it
Yeah.
is. I've got what I consider to be the best job out of the group of them. Like, everything is great. And then all of a sudden I think it was the other sister's wedding, he starts cooking all the hors d'oeuvres just by himself, and he's wearing a cute little apron. And I literally went up to him and I said, "Hey, man, F.O., I know what you're up to." But they loved him just a little bit more after that. The cooking is a smart breaker.
It works.
Did you do something to win over or impress your significant other's family? That's what we're talking about. Let's hear from Candygram.
Hey, Candy.
Good morning. My mother-in-law had rheumatoid arthritis, and she's sitting in the middle of the yard. Was brand new, married, young. I went out in the middle of the woods. I caught a timber rattlesnake. He was beautiful. I love creepy crawlies. I went out and I said, "Look at this," and I put it right in her face. And that woman moved like you wouldn't believe.
Did you know that it was a venomous snake?
Yeah, I
She
like
thought it
snakes.
was going to impress her.
It
I
kind of
did.
impresses me. You caught
Yeah.
a deadly snake with your hands when you're, I don't know how old you were, but I don't know that there's a good age to do that when you're untrained.
Yep, you just never know what's going to impress someone or not. In this case, it does not sound like her mother-in-law was impressed.
What does that make, Candy? A herpetologist, a herpeologist? What does it make her?
A fan of creepy crawlies,
There
is
you
I
go,
think
right
the
then.
designation she gave herself. Todd and Renton, did you do something to win over or impress your significant other's family?
Well, I think so. I mean, some of the family members would think this was pretty impressive. Others may not. But I was doing some hardwood floors at my mother-in-law's house, and my wife came home with Cinnabon, those huge cinnamon rolls.
Yum.
And then she left. She left and went back home. I was on my knees doing the hardwood floors. All of a sudden, I heard this choky, gurgly sound. And
Get off your knees.
and then she stood up, which she doesn't stand up. My mother-in-law is in a wheelchair, but she stood up, grabbing her throat. Her husband was going, "Oh, my God, I think she's choking." So I started giving her the Heimlich maneuver. Now, this is a huge, gelatinous woman. I mean, she's massive.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't say that, right? You didn't say that to her.
Everybody in Todd's life knows she's gelatinous.
And I'm 6'3", 240s. I got a pretty big wingspan. I could barely get my fingers around her just to grasp each other. I was giving her the Heimlich maneuver. Nothing was happening, and then she lost her legs and passed out. So then she hit the floor. I continued to give her CPR. I'm telling her husband, call 911, and he'd pick up the phone, dialing it. I think this was kind of my vision, as slowly as he could.
Oh.
I was like, no, I'm just kidding. So anyways.
Oh, my God.
That's awesome.
I finally got it out of her. I turned her head, and this thing, I mean, it was giant, come oozing out of her face like alien, just. And I have yet to have a cinnamon roll, and it's been about 2.5 years.
Wow.
Ew.
That is
ew.
First of all, the first thing I'd have done is I'd have looked right at her and I'd have said, "Faker."
What?
Why
Because she
she's
stood
standing
up.
up.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been pushing you around Disneyland for the last 7 Thanksgivings, and it turns out you can walk and talk. Now you're choking on a gherkin or whatever the hell it is. I say I'll give you a minute to turn blue before I save you.
Do you
I'm
think
wondering
Todd's wife has ever heard him tell the story
Yeah.
quite that way?
I'm
I'll
wondering
bet
if
she
Todd
has.
will still be married after that story he just
Right.
told us.
Oh, she's dead now.
The gelatinous
Yeah, she's gone.
mother-in-law.
There's no
But
way she's
still,
still
that's,
with us.
That's your mom.
Well, I'm making this up. I don't know.
Todd's
Hey,
talking
Todd, is
about.
your mother-in-law still with us?
Yes, she is,
She
and
is,
I got
Ron.
a set of cookware. As my gift for saving her life.
Well, that's nice. I think that's lovely. It's a lovely story.
a parting gift.
All right, guys, I think it is now time to play Rock Royalty.
Rock royalty.
You've got a chance right now to win a pair of VIP passes for an exclusive pre-screening of the new Queen biopic, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
To play the game and win the tickets, call us right now, 800-252-1025. Hey, we are so excited for the new Queen biopic, Bohemian Rhapsody, that all week long we are playing the game Rock Royalty, giving you a chance to win VIP passes for an exclusive pre-screening of the biopic. It's at a top secret undisclosed location. Here's how the game works. To win, you correctly identify the musical monarchs from Danny's Clue.
Hey.
Our contestant is Rob in Puyallup.
Hiya, Rob.
Hey, good morning, crew.
Good morning. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Most of the time,
Alrighty, and do you understand the rules of the game?
yes, I do.
Then pay attention, because here we go. This high-born heavy metal band was formed just across the pond. Well, just across the lake, actually, in Bellevue, Washington. Originally called The Mob, since changing their name and adding an umlaut, these metal monarchs have sold over 20 million albums. They've received worldwide acclaim after the release of their 1988 album, Operation Mindcrime. Can you name the members of this rock royalty?
I would believe that'd be Queensryche.
Damn,
look at
nice
him go.
work.
That would be correct, Rob.
Well done, Rob. Did anybody have caller 1? I don't think anybody
No,
had caller
Sarah, you had caller
I had
one.
caller one.
Oh, look at you.
I
I
had
had-
caller 2, you had caller 3.
I had
Faith and
confidence in
Rob.
Rob.
Yeah.
Look at Rob go.
Rob, you're going to the Jeep Winners window in our lobby to pick up your VIP passes for the exclusive pre-screening of Bohemian Rhapsody in theaters on November 2nd. It's the foot-stomping celebration of Queen, their music, and, of course, lead singer Freddie Mercury. We'll give the rest of you another chance to win tomorrow morning at 7:20. And next, we've got the big news of the day.
That's right. It is the big news of the day, and it's brought to you by Goldberg Jones Divorce for Men. Call 1-800-DIVORCE or go online to goldbergjones.com.
Northern California's biggest utility has shut off power to tens of thousands of customers in an unprecedented step to prevent wildfires amid rising winds and official warnings of extreme fire danger. Pacific Gas and Electric started to turn the lights out. They started in California wine country, then they went near the San Francisco Bay. Schools were canceled yesterday, and they said this is to prevent more wildfires because we've got crazy winds and dry conditions.
So they're going to blow out my light bulb?
They,
Yeah. What's going on?
They have had wildfires start from downed power lines. If there's no power running through those power lines, they can't spark a fire.
Seems pretty extreme.
Yeah, I think people win out. People's right to warmth and light to read by and schools to
Yeah.
teach and win over
Crazy.
the chance of a downed power line in the wrong area.
Now, they have had, of course, devastating wildfires in California this season. And I know,
we smelled them.
Yeah, I mean, and all here in Washington and up in B.C., it was a problem, as it is every year. But this has never happened before.
No, and is BC and here keeping the lights on?
We still have our lights on.
This seems
Yeah.
incredibly inappropriate.
It really does.
Doesn't seem like a real response even. It
And
sounds
they're like
the-
a real PG&E. They're like a
it
real
sounds-
big utility.
If this is the way they wrote it down, it sounds to me Like they don't have anything to say, so let's say this because it's unreasonable and can't possibly work.
Something else knocked out the power, and they're pretending they
who
turned it off on
knows?
purpose.
But cutting out the power to a school is not the answer. And everybody who hears this has got to be thinking, well, your reaction was the same as mine. This is ridiculous.
It is,
I'm
yeah.
credulous.
Well, hopefully those winds will die down today and they can turn the lights back on.
All right?
It's crazy.
Up to 10,000 Americans due to have hip or knee replacements.
Are going to die?
Nope,
Oh,
nope.
Totally different then.
They're going to be able to funnel basic health data directly from their Apple Watches to their surgeons under a new app being tested by a prosthetic limb specialist. This company is called Zimmer Biomet, and several hospitals are now taking part. They will receive stats, including heart rate, steps taken, standing hours, and these will be from patients waiting for or recovering from hip and knee replacements.
Now, let me say, but here's the problem with me saying, I can't remember why I'm saying. I'm not completely clear about.
And you just said it too.
Yeah, I know. Well, let me riddle me this, Batman. So this guy was in the prosthetic arm business, right?
This is prosthetic limbs.
Wait, all right, okay. And the arm, okay, let's say you got a prosthetic limb and you got a smartwatch. Does it know your heart rate anymore?
No,
I
this
don't
is
think
not.
so.
It
You
does.
gotta put it on the other arm.
you gotta put it on
Apples
the
and
good arm.
oranges. This is just a company whose specialty has been prosthetic limbs. This is not people who are getting prosthetics put in. This is the millions of people who get knee and hip replacements.
Who write this knee on their knee because they always seem to get that wrong, and this kidney and stuff like that.
This is going to be for people who want some help with recovery or to check your health going into surgery. So millions of people undergo hip and knee replacements.
Did you know Gary Crow is on his third hip?
Crazy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the last one he did in like a half an hour.
Yeah,
Like,
in
I
and
said,
out.
well, are you going to be in the hospital for a long time? No, I'll be out that afternoon.
Yeah, I won't miss a show.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
According to these companies, if you look at patients, what they have to do before or after these surgeries, they don't have a lot of support. They've got questions. They've got some fears and anxiety. It's a big deal. And this will help doctors monitor their data. So your Apple Watch will go, with your permission, to your doctor so they can monitor your health without actually having to talk to
I
you.
think this is actually, in a way, pardon the expression, old news, and I'll tell you why. So I think the Saudis got into this. Guy's wearing an Apple Watch, and then they hacked his arms and legs off, as I understand it, and now there's audio from his Apple Watch. Is that right?
Oh, the guy that's gone missing that they think is dead
and been parted out.
Yeah, they think that there is audio from the Apple Watch.
So they're already in the the fake arm business. They'll give this guy a need for a fake arm.
They're not sending it to his doctor, but yeah, kind of the same thing.
Who knows where they'll send it? They're crazy people.
North Carolina, a man booby-trapped his back door with a shotgun and then shot himself when he opened the door, forgetting he had booby-trapped his back door.
Whoops.
Yeah. I hate it when you booby-trap your back door.
According to the sheriff's department, I've never seen anything quite like this.
Yeah.
He was able to put a tactical tourniquet on the man, who was then taken to the hospital. This, I guess, is not that uncommon for some areas. They're concerned.
That's not. We've reported on this recently.
We've reported
people
on
with booby traps
They're
around their
booby-trapped
house.
in their wheelchair, if I remember correctly.
That was in Oregon, and
Right.
that was somebody who was afraid of people getting into their home.
That's not what this guy wanted?
In this case, the guy didn't want anyone to break into his house, had booby traps around his property. He had been in the backyard feeding squirrels when he decided to go back in his house, forgetting he had armed his booby trap.
So this guy's crazy as a bag of cats. He's
Yeah.
outside feeding his squirrels after Jimmy and the weird thing with a shotgun at his back door.
Yep.
I think and Danny, you've said before that you have some memory issues. I think you would remember setting a booby trap
My
to
biggest
shoot you.
memory issues are the 80s and people's names.
Yeah,
you
right.
get rid of the 80s and people don't have names anymore, but like a number or
Booby
a
traps.
description.
You remember that?
Yeah, I would remember my booby trap.
So both Paul and Danny, you guys have been watching Top Chef.
Yeah.
For years. Great show. Best cooking show on TV. in my
Yeah, it
opinion.
really is.
Do you remember what is called a bad boy celebrity chef named Adam Harvey?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, he runs a restaurant. He was a big part of that show. He is pretty well known. He also had a pretty nice house and was mad at his neighbor whose tree was blocking his view. Well, he asked his neighbor to cut the tree down. The neighbor said no. So he said, I'll show you.
That's my chainsaw.
Nope. He used
boat.
a drill to cut multiple holes into the bark, and then he placed poison in there.
Yeah, that's occurred to me.
You always get caught, though. They
Always get caught.
Every single
Always
time.
get caught. But I've never once asked my neighbors, hey, would you cut this down? I'll pay for the cutting down, and I'll even pay for having new, smaller trees planted in your property if you'd like.
Yeah.
But I just think that makes such a bad neighbor vibe when they say no. And this tree has been there for hundreds of years. It's gigantic. It's not just some eyesore. It's a very nice tree, but it's just in my way of bitchiness.
And you'll definitely get caught if they say no and then you poison the tree.
Exactly.
Right. Well, I've talked too many times about poisoning the tree and who I was going to pay Gibbons $1,000 to do it. Tree high up into the tree line so they can't really see it till it starts to die.
Well, he put poison in the tree, and guess what happened? He got busted.
He got busted, yeah.
He got busted.
And the tree didn't die. The
Wow.
tree is actually thriving, although he does have to pay restitution. He has community service, and his spokesperson, this celebrity chef, Adam Harvey, his spokesperson says he is moving and it's not related to the tree incident.
Right,
Well,
it's totally unrelated.
See, having thought about this a couple of times with my neighbor, to do that to my neighbor, I got to climb a couple of fences. I got to go up and hide behind stuff. And now I'm in his backyard and I'm hiding behind it. Nobody's got air conditioners. Hiding behind whatever is going on in his backyard. But I've thought about it because it meets two different streets. So I could go in from either street.
Yeah, in your
You know?
ninja suit.
Well, here's the thing why I might not wear my ninja suit. Because if they start to catch you, you're now definitely caught. How? Well, he's dressed like a ninja. Let's go get that guy. So I think the trick is to wear some kind of disguise, but normal clothes.
Today is October 16th.
I know what that means.
We got a couple of celebrity birthdays today.
Name one.
John Mayer.
That's one.
Yeah, that's one.
Singer-guitarist is 41 years young today. Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, 56.
And never worn a shirt a day of those years.
Actor Tim Robbins turns 60. Suzanne Summers is doing a Thigh Master at 72. And
She's doing a Thigh Master at 72?
working out with her Thigh Master at
Oh,
70.
that'd like to be. Sound like some private coach boning.
And our favorite actress, Angela Lansbury,
Yeah.
is
Oh.
93.
May
She'd
God
have been
rest her soul.
93 years old.
She would have been 93
That's
today.
amazing.
She's not dead, Paul.
Yeah, she's alive in our hearts.
Happy
Alive and
birthday,
well.
Angela Lansbury.
If she's
I will-
alive, she's going to be really mad that Paul tried to suck out the poison. I'll tell you that right now.
She's not on a jet ski, and she didn't get stung
Not
by a
anymore.
jellyfish.
No, they wiped her off that.
I'm going to go watch Murder, She Wrote. That's the big news of the day. It's brought to you by Goldberg Jones. Divorce for Men, 1-800-DIVORCE, or online, goldbergjones.com.
Yeah, you guessed it. There's more coming right up. It's Sarah's Filthy Forecast.
It's Sarah with your filthy forecast. I have such a hunger, a strong desire. Sometimes you just need it, and you'll do anything to get it. You won't have to beg. You'll just get it handed right to you. Sun poking through again today, 68 with no rain in sight. You know what is in sight? A deliciously warm week with wispy, wet bits of fog. You know about those wet bits of fog. Each and every morning you'll wake up with it. I think there's a name for that. I'll have to
I think so.
long,
Gross.
hard about that one. We're the best weather front in Seattle. I'm Sarah.
Wow, my goodness, great.
Filthy, man.
Week after week after week, and they get filthier. Eventually, we're just going to explode.
Yeah.
That was, in fact, Sarah's Filthy Forecast. And let me tell you what we're doing. It's called Money for Nothing. It's on KZOK, and it's easy to get involved with. You got 13 chances a day, every single day, to win $1,000. Just listen for the new hourly keyword, and then text that word to 200, 200, and your 200 rather. I'll give it to you again. 200, 200, and your next chance to win is coming up at 8:10 this morning. This app is so awesome, I am breathless. Here's the deal. iHeartRadio app, it's all your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free. Put us in your pocket. Take us wherever you want to go. Listen on your iPhone, your laptop, over 200 other devices. Get it all. Get the iHeartRadio app.
Well, as you heard just before Jimi Hendrix, we were paying our respects to Paul Allen, who we found out died yesterday at the age of 65. And we were talking about it earlier, and I think a lot of people have been talking about it since finding out that Seattle would not be the same city without Paul Allen.
No, it'd be a different skyline. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Definitely the South Lake Union area, all the development he's done there.
And of course, Seattle sports.
Right, of course.
Exactly. The city would look completely different, literally and figuratively, without Paul Allen's contribution. And you think about all the different things Paul Allen has done, he didn't have to give back so much. He chose to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be tough to do business when you're a billionaire and don't, though.
Well,
I think he did it voluntarily. I think he was happy to give back to the community.
Yeah. We've talked about other people who are not as outward with their donations. And Paul Allen, from the get-go, has really put a lot of money into various different passions, and it's pretty inspiring.
Yeah, he's an inspiring guy, and he inspires me more because mostly he didn't lose a dime doing it. He was able to do really wonderful things and still be the Paul Allen mold that I look up to, that I admire. It wasn't just like there was giving to people who needed it, but there was also reviving a city who nobody, I think, knew needed it. Our city's not the same as a decade ago. I look at pictures all the time. It's a different skyline.
Yeah, and he certainly benefited from. He brought all that high tech business into Seattle, and he certainly benefited from it.
That's my point exactly. Is you need to benefit from it. Otherwise, you just end up broke again.
There was a letter floating around on the internet, on social media yesterday, that he had gotten when he was a senior in high school, and it was from the UW Computer Science Laboratory, the director of the lab there, telling him that him and his friends were banned from the lab. They could no longer use it because they had overused it. They had monopolized the computer lab. And now today, because he gave $40 million to the school, that computer lab and the entire computer science department is named the Allen School.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So it's kind of interesting to be, in high school he's banned from that building, and now the building has his name on it.
Well, and think about it this
I wonder
way,
if he's
too.
still banned. Can you ban Paul Allen from the Paul Allen building? I don't think you can.
I think once they built it, he could go there whenever he wanted. Yeah.
Think about it this way, too. We're talking about all the different things he donated, all the money, all the different buildings that he built and the different things he did. Well, what about every single person who uses a computer on this planet? It all started from Microsoft.
Right.
It wouldn't be anything without his actual brain and him and Bill Gates getting together to make a product that we all use and changed business as we know it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is inspirational. And other than Paul Allen, Danny, who would you say has a body of work, their life's work that inspires you?
Bruce Lee.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I was thinking I have others. He altered my life. I've made as much money fighting as most actual fighters, not champions, but, I got as high as $10,000. I don't know, the Greg Brady thing paid me $25,000 to go beat up a Brady.
Wow.
And none of that would probably have happened if I hadn't fallen deeply in love with Bruce Lee in 1970 and then followed that through Chuck Norris and a lot of other times in life. But I'm going to go, that guy just works the hardest he ever could. Bruce Lee's my answer.
Well, you guys listening, whose life work inspires you? Call us now to tell us, 800-252-1025, or text in 90627.
All right, so the dear Paul Allen, who really touched most of our lives in one way or another, and a good way, by the way, was an inspiration to a lot of us. Whose life work inspires you? Call 1-800-252-1025, or you can text the 90627. I have already said Bruce Lee. Changed my life. It patterned a lot of stuff I have in my life. Equally as much, Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
And that's just another guy who's the best he can be. There is no better than that, at least certainly at that time, although I don't think he's been surpassed. So far, Bruce Lee and Johnny Carson are the two big people that changed a lot of things in my life.
Whose life work inspires you? Call us at 800-252-1025 or text in 90627. Good morning, Bridget in Sultan.
Hey, Bridget.
Maya Angelou.
Really?
Why is that, Bridget?
Oh my goodness, she was a poet. She was an artist. She was an advocate. I'm a middle-aged white woman, and she inspired me.
It's pretty amazing.
No,
and she did
yeah. I
inspire a
mean,
lot of
she was
people.
an incredible writer as far as I talked to, as far as I've read. I've only read very, very little. Little yappy for like sometimes people like to hear their own voice a little too much. But didn't she win? Is it a Nobel Prize or a Pulitzer Prize?
Pulitzer.
It was a Pulitzer that she won right there. You stop your personal opinion, just go, oh, that's the limit right there. She won a Pulitzer.
Yeah.
I would say somebody whose life's work inspires me, even though he's pretty young, he's 23, is Shaquem Griffin. Being born, losing a hand,
Yeah.
just are
From the time he's like 6.
Right.
He's training with his brother. You're one say, oh, you're a full second behind your brother. Come on. That's
But
bad.
the odds of you being able to do
Yeah.
that, I mean,
The
the odds
of
of
being able to do
anyone,
it with 2 hands.
right? The odds
Yeah.
of anyone being able to do it, and then him.
Yeah, and I mean it's inspiring because he never gave up. He had a good family base that helped him do this, and I'm sure he will continue to inspire a lot of young
I'm sure
people.
forever. And
Definitely.
so, just to be a jerk, I'll throw in. Then you must really like Oscar Pistorius,
No.
the Blade Runner.
Yeah.
No feet,
Right.
and broke Olympic records.
I mean, you can admire
Right
some
up
things
until
he
right
did.
up to the point where he shot his girlfriend. He is an admirable cat.
Right.
What about Bella in Linwood? Whose life's work inspires you?
I am a huge fan of a woman named Myrna Valerio, and she is an ultramarathon runner.
Oh.
She doesn't look like a marathon runner. She's a plus size woman, but she's really just redefining athleticism and what it means to push your body to its limits.
Not that
and
it,
that's at any size.
Not that it particularly matters to me, Bella, but I'm just curious. Does she win these things? Are they contests?
They're not contests. They're like running 100 kilometers through the
And
desert.
have you
And-
read a book or looked at a book called My Life with a Seal or Living with a Seal?
Are you asking Bella?
Yeah. I'm looking at you because you're right there, but I'm asking Bella.
I'm sorry, what was the
You
question?
should just real quick, if you like that kind of stuff, there's a book out called Living with a Seal, and it's a super rich guy that hired a crazed Navy SEAL to train him so he could run 100 miles a day, 3 days a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you got to admire the guy because he's so rich. He doesn't have to do that.
Yeah, right.
He could easily go, well, that was a terrible idea. Thanks, Bella.
We're asking the question, whose life's work inspires you? Because of the late, great Paul Allen, inspired so many of us, touched the lives of so many. Trucker Andy, whose life's work inspires you?
Morning, you people.
What do you mean,
What do
you
you mean,
people?
you people?
I mean, you people.
All right.
The person that inspires me, which I, hate to admit this, would be actually my little brother.
In what way does he, in what way?
So my little brother has been married to this.
Oh, we
Did
lost
just
Trucker
lose-
Andy.
here, I'll
Put
just
them
finish.
put them both through college. Had the same job going on 30 years. And, I wasn't perfect growing up. I screwed up quite a bit. So he's inspired me to really, pull my crap together and, step up my game.
Well, that's a nice one because it's one thing to say this guy inspired me and then do nothing about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Than to say I'm inspired and actually, take some steps. My whole family inspires me, but only because every single one of them is going to need money sooner than later. So they inspire me to get up at 4 a.m. and do this a little bit more.
Don and Puyallup, whose life's work inspires you?
Dean Martin.
Yeah. Why?
He had the Dean Martin show and the Dean Martin roast for his entertainment.
Yeah, no, he is a fabulous guy. First of all, notoriously not sober in the sense like, some people claim sobriety, but never drunk on TV, never drunk in his Vegas act. It was iced tea in his glass. He never had a glass
yeah.
of booze. Yeah. No, he's very serious about this. And Frank Sinatra.
Really?
My goodness.
When he came back to do the Dean Martin show that Don is talking about, they couldn't pay him enough to come out of retirement, so they gave him RCA stock, which then flipped like 9 times. He died with almost $1 billion.
Wow. And he was just so cool.
So cool.
Like
He's-
even more so than Frank.
Plus, he did a song called "Once in Love with Amy," so that's pretty
There
cool
you
for
go.
me.
Whose life's work inspires you? Let's talk to Billy in North Seattle.
Billy, what up?
Hey, the undersea world of Jacques Cousteau.
He's a revolutionary.
Is it Jacques Cousteau that inspires you?
Very much.
Yeah, I agree with that. Can't even lose that stupid accent or the ridiculous hat. Yet changes the whole world. I got to go with you on that, Billy.
Yeah, he really was a revolutionary and changed the way we view the planet. What about Brent in Port Townsend? Who do you think?
Hey, Danny. Morning, crew.
Hey.
So I look towards Keith Richards. He's like a barometer on how much you can abuse your body and still party on.
Yeah. See, because he can. I was going to say, you know what? I've got those same credentials, man. Love me. But He doesn't. He gets to party on, and I do not. I lost some rights there that he could that he held it together all those years.
What about Doug in Mount Lake Terrace? Whose life's work inspires you?
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Yeah, two people actually. You, Danny, and my dad, both of you guys.
Is there any chance I am your father?
Yeah, same guy, right?
Well, wait. Well, I watched you growing up. You and I are about the same age, but I watched the program like religiously, and it didn't seem to matter the situation. You were always able to finagle a way out.
Yeah, nothing changed, man. Nothing changed. You give me a situation, I'll finagle. Thank you very much, Doug.
An interesting text into 90627. Although he's a fictional character, Charlie Brown inspires me because no matter what happens in life, he never gives up. That's true. Charlie Brown, every time is going to try and kick that football, no matter.
That's when you stop trying to kick the football. She's a terrible person. Don't let Lucy hold your balls.
No one is ever going to say Lucy is an inspirational person.
I don't know. She can make a quick buck.
Other texters are inspired by Jane Goodall, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Especially to have that acting career with
that ridiculous
accent.
Plus, to get to be the biggest man in the world when that's your goal in life and everybody else is a 16th of an inch behind you, but to stay ahead,
Right.
you know, to have movies made about you, let alone star in them, and then become the governor. Yeah, you got to admire that guy.
Will in Port Orchard admires Stan Lee for all the promotion he's able to do for the Marvel brand and how big the Marvel Comics has become.
And he's in his 90s
Yeah.
and still
He's the same age as my
away.
mom, I think. I think he's
Crazy.
94.
Paul, whose life's work inspires you?
Gary Dalabate, Baba Booey.
Yeah.
Because,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I am shocked.
That guy is not particularly talented or funny or interesting, but he has a net worth of $15 million doing this job as a radio producer. That inspires me.
I'm not positive he does this job anymore. It's been a long time. He's
Right.
a character now.
Right,
You know,
but-
he'll get on the
Either
phones
way.
and, yeah, exactly. And you can aspire to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and then to decide, you don't want to sit there and push buttons and run the show. You just want to run the show.
Yeah.
And that's what Gary did.
Tori, whose life's work inspires you?
Audrey Hepburn.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
beautiful actress. She was an ambassador for UNICEF. Just a kind lady and really talented.
You never hear anyone say a bad word about her.
No.
Ever. She really
She's an
did give it-
ass. There, That's what it sounds like.
Oh.
Well, I don't know anything about the lady. I just heard a dare. Nobody says anything bad about her.
And Derek, whose life's work inspires you?
Weird Al Yankovic. He plays the accordion and has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah,
True.
you're right. You're right
those
both
things are
times.
awesome.
You are right
Yeah.
both times. Can I throw in a Malalia? Is that the
Yeah,
little girl that was shot
absolutely.
right in the face
Yeah.
and then wrote a bestseller, then won the Nobel Peace Prize?
Yeah.
Pretty
and gives
inspiring.
lectures in countries in where she was already shot once.
I mean, I'm not going to do any of those things, but she's pretty inspiring.
No,
you know.
absolutely. Although for the Nobel Peace Prize, I think you get $1 million. I'd take one of that for $1 million. If as long as you promise I'm going to live.
Thanks for the calls and texts. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with the news. This morning, the FBI are investigating a fatal Puyallup Tribal Police Department involved shooting at the Emerald Queen Casino in Tacoma.
No way.
Details are pretty scarce as this happened just a short while ago, but police say there was a fatal shooting incident, although it is unclear who was shot and whether the shooting happened inside the casino or outside in the parking lot. The casino's parking lot is taped off. There is a smashed up police cruiser. Officials do say that no officers were injured, but the FBI and tribal police are at the scene.
Oh, okay, no tribal officer was shot?
As I said, they have not. We know with that cruiser crash, there was nobody injured, but what we don't know is who was shot. So it doesn't appear to be a police officer.
Right.
And nobody was injured, they said, with the smashed up police cruiser that we see, but still unclear who was shot. We do know it was a tribal police department involved shooting. So the way they're describing it, it sounds as though Puyallup Tribal Police shot someone.
Oh, okay. It's still a tragedy. but-
Yeah.
Yes.
And it happened just this morning.
Yeah, it happened
Wow.
about 45 minutes ago.
That's what I mean. Early in the morning for shootings to take place. Not that there's any good time, but
yeah, but I think you're wrong. I think more shootings happen between 4 and 7 than happen between noon and 5.
It does seem like most of the ones we've
Criminals
been
have
reporting-
hours.
But I would say late at night and
Yeah.
and early in the morning
Yeah,
versus
when,
time
and
to go
also
to work.
not only that, criminals are temperature sensitive.
Yeah.
And when it gets really, really, really cold, crime goes way down in troubled neighborhoods.
I have heard
and
that.
babies go way up.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, most of the time with Seattle proper, it seems as though these shootings happen around 3 a.m, and they've correlated it to bars closing.
Right.
And there have been some proposals to have bar time closings be staggered so that everyone isn't converging all onto the street at once.
Oh, I thought it's so they wouldn't stagger. They stop those guys from staggering.
We'll continue to keep you abreast of this situation at the EQC. And the tributes keep pouring in for Paul Allen, who reportedly died yesterday afternoon. Well, not reportedly. He did die yesterday afternoon. We got word of it at about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Paul Allen gone at the age of 65. Bill Gates released a statement saying he is heartbroken after the death of his oldest and dearest friend. He said personal computing would not have existed without him. He went on to praise his intellect, his compassion, and what he did to improve people's lives. Members of Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and people throughout the NBA and the NFL with a nice outpouring of tributes. Spielberg, he worked with both of them on trying to help animals and
underwater research and stuff as
yeah,
well. Yeah.
Environmental work. Leonardo DiCaprio, real big on
crazy big.
The NRDC, I think, is his.
It's the next stage after sleeping with supermodels. Like, okay, I've got $1 gazillion. I'm sleeping with supermodels. I have an Academy Award. I know. Let's save fish or whatever it is. And he's dead. So he's like, couldn't be less kidding about it.
Yeah.
The Trailblazers message to Paul Allen: we miss you. We thank you. We love you. Very nice.
Yeah, lovely.
In Oregon, Cannon Beach has discovered something a bit unusual when they're trying to solve one of their problems. No local, state, or federal agency has feral rabbits. Feral rabbits have overtaken the popular beach town. Shelters are too overwhelmed with the bunnies to take them in.
Why can't they just run around?
They have said they are everywhere.
And they keep multiplying like rabbits.
Like rabbits, sure.
They're going to wind up running out of food. They're going to wind up destroying people's yards and all that, and then they're going to eventually run out of food. They don't want to kill them. They don't want to trap them because they're popular with tourists. But now the city council says, well, we'd love to see how the Chamber of Commerce will deal with the image of Cannon Beach, the bunny-killing capital of the world.
They have a point there.
So now they're asking for the public's help. Does anyone have any ideas on what we can do to curb this? We have too many rabbits.
Yeah, give them a whatchamacallit.
Peanut butter?
Candy bar?
Candy bar?
Yes, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Does that kill bunnies?
No, I just couldn't think of the word for a vasectomy for rabbits.
Oh, fix the bunnies.
Yeah.
Right. You got to trap them first.
No, well, to do the surgery, you don't have to poison them, you don't. And that's usually the response when people are done with some kind of feral animal, is to poison them. And when they said, let's see how you do with the public relations with this, Turtle Bay in Hawaii, well, I know this to be true. Turtle Bay in Hawaii started poisoning their cats at one point, and people stopped going there. People
Well, that's
like
what they're
those
concerned
cats.
about.
Yeah.
They're
they're
really
right.
concerned about the image, plus people like the bunnies. They're super cute little bunnies.
There's just too many of them.
Yep.
So it's got to be somebody's responsibility, animal control or something.
They said it is not.
How did that many rabbits get there?
Well, I think it's probably they occur in nature. They probably started having babies. People
Yeah.
thought they were cute, and then people started feeding them.
But they're a problem in Australia, and they're not native to Australia. Somebody brought them there.
Yeah.
And now they're out of their control. So I was just wondering if anybody knows who started bringing rabbits
Steve.
here.
It was Steve.
So you don't know. She doesn't
How would
know.
anyone know who brought a rabbit in?
Because
You
they look
don't.
down and tell me if it says so in your papers that you're reading because you're the news person that knows
Danny,
stuff.
nobody knows who introduces a feral animal. Nobody says, "Hey, it was me."
The British brought them to Australia. I'm sorry.
Do we know if it's like cute little white bunnies or
They're
is
all
it
different
like
colors.
jackrabbits or?
I've seen them. They're absolutely adorable, but they have short ears.
Oh, interesting.
Can they hear as well? That's a real question.
Yes, Danny, they
Well,
can hear as
no,
well.
the cats' ears are shaped one way and dogs another, and they hear entirely differently.
I would think bigger ear, the more you can hear.
I don't want to ask anymore.
The U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo met with Saudi Arabia's King Salman this morning and is scheduled to meet with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to discuss the mystery surrounding the reporter Jamal Khashoggi. He is a U.S. resident and Washington Post contributor who disappeared from the Saudi consulate in Istanbul 2 weeks ago, leading to reports that he was killed there. perhaps for writing editorials that challenged the royal family.
Let's not forget dismembered. That's the current thinking, that
It
people
is,
came in and cut his head off and his feet and his legs and all that, and threw him in bags.
Well, that's the rumor. We, of course, have no physical evidence of this because we have not been able to get into the building, into the consulate.
And are they now saying they might be willing to tell us that he was killed?
Yes. So
That's a weird thing to do. Like, maybe later today we might tell you that we did, in fact, kill a man.
I think what is happening here is everybody's taking a playbook out of Trump's book. Like, you get caught lying and terrible, change your story, but don't care. Don't care one way or another about the truth, and it will go away.
Don't say I was lying. Just say the new truth is this.
The new truth is this. The alternate facts are this. Yeah. And they're learning, and they go, you know what? You give this 3 months, nobody's going to care. And sadly, that might be true.
And a child in Florida has become the first person to die of the flu this season, according to state health officials. The state epidemiologist says that the child had not been vaccinated and was otherwise healthy before getting sick with the flu. This child did test positive for influenza B, and they said this is a stark reminder to get vaccinated this season.
You know, what happens to mom and or dad or both, who's ever in charge of life in that way. In my house, it would be my wife, Amy. When you don't vaccinate your kid, and then your kid dies, and you show up on screen going, I didn't know, and little Bobby's dead, and I should have done something different. You should have to give that tear-filled speech from prison. You know better. You know what could happen. It's all real science. You put your little boy's body at risk, life at risk. Don't just apologize to us. There should be some kind of punishment involved, and I don't think there is.
According to the Orlando Health Hospital, they said more than half of parents don't get the flu injection for their kids, the flu vaccination, because they believe their child can get the flu from the flu shot. 30% of parents feel the flu vaccines are part of a conspiracy, and 28% of parents believe the flu vaccine causes autism.
28% believe that?
That's an insanely high
number.
Yeah.
And
this is Florida, though, right?
This is Florida. So this
But
is
they're
the
reading
world.
from some journal that's not just Florida, right?
This is a survey conducted by Orlando Health Arnold Palmer Hospital, and those are the survey results. They said none of these things are true. It is important that we deal with science and facts. Get your kid vaccinated.
Yeah. And if you don't and you get sick, we'll put you in jail. That's because King Danny has spoken.
Yeah.
If you get an invitation to the Department of State's cat-themed pajama party at the U.S. Embassy in Australia,
I will attend.
Yeah, in a minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wearing ears.
I've got some sad news for you. It turns out it was a mistake.
No.
During a training exercise, an email went out featuring a photo of a cat dressed like the Cookie Monster holding a plate of cookies.
Aw.
And the subject was meeting. Everybody was excited for a pajama party.
Yeah.
Well, the embassy sent out a clarifying follow-up. They
Too
said,
bad. You have to do it now.
Exactly.
It's false advertising.
Sorry?
You put the invitation out there, I'm coming.
You're an embassy. You're good for two things: hacking a guy to pieces or throwing me a party dressed as a cat. What's it going to be?
Sorry to disappoint all of you who are hoping to attend this cat pajama jam party, but such events fall outside of our area of expertise. One of our staff was testing out a new email newsletter platform. Oops.
He used the cat in pajamas template
Yep.
on his newsletter.
And was it a full-size Cookie Monster?
Wearing a Cookie Monster outfit.
Oh, because I saw a picture and I could not tell what the hell it was. So the cat was dressed up as the Cookie Monster.
Yes.
This is a big mistake to not have this party.
Cute.
According to a new study from the University of East Anglia, terrible, terrible news is on the horizon. Intense climate change could cause beer supply shortages.
No.
No.
Look at you two. Ha. Welcome to my world.
Severe drought.
You've been having a supply shortage for years now.
8 years or so now.
Severe drought and heat will increasingly impact barley yields around the world, potentially causing a dramatic rise in beer prices and major declines in beer consumption because there's going to be a shortage. Say it ain't so.
It ain't so.
I hope it's not so.
Studies are showing that barley yield losses will, in the future, range from a decline of 3 to 17%. And if it declines by too much, it'll cause beer prices to double on average.
You would have thought that everybody would agree on climate change before it started burning up your crops and your house and your skin,
Yeah.
changing the temperature in Death Valley from 107 to 126 degrees. You think we'd all gone, well, no, we need to fix all this stuff, but no, we do this. I don't believe that's real at all. I think that barley caught fire naturally. That's what I think. But
Double the cost of a Coors Light, though. I think people are going to start believing.
Pricey silver, a $9 silver bullet. Yeah.
Many of you already know that having adult relations, it feels good and
it's awesome.
it's good for you, and it turns out it is really good for you. We know it can
Not
boost.
the way I do it.
I mean, it's still good for you, just not for very long.
And it's also not that great for her.
It can boost your immune system, protect from certain cancers, relieve stress, improve your mood, and help you sleep better. And now, thanks to a new study, having adult relations can protect you from heart attacks and keep your heart in tip-top shape.
To be fair, though, it can also kill you.
Well, that's
From a
what they
heart
wanted
attack.
to dispel. They said that's what common belief is, but it's not true.
I hear those commercials where they say, "Ask your doctor if you're healthy enough for if your heart is healthy enough for
What
sex."
part isn't true? That people don't have heart attacks after having sex or during having sex?
They said, according to this study, they tracked men between the ages of 40 and 70. They tracked them for years, analyzing their health history in order to understand the relationship between sexual activity and cardiovascular health. People who had the most sex had the lowest risk of cardiovascular disease.
Yeah, and Paul, I mean, there's a lot of moving around involved. The less, the better. But still, I've worn my heart rate monitor during it, and your heart rate goes way up. No two ways about it.
And you get steps.
Depends on how you do it.
No, I've been doing it
Like
the
if
way
you're
that
doing
I get steps.
If you're shaking your fist over your head, which is kind of a weird way to go, you get your steps.
Is that weird?
No, you're fine. You're good.
Right.
They looked at overall health, blood pressure, and whether the men were smokers or not, and the results proved that sex alone is a factor powerful enough to reduce the risk of heart disease.
The cigarette you have afterwards, though, that kind of counterbalances
That's
it.
not
though.
so good for you.
No.
Yeah, and the herpes you get from
Travel, you might want to think again before traveling via Air India. An Air India flight attendant has been injured after falling from the door of a parked airplane at India's Mumbai airport. Harsha Lobo was preparing the flight for boarding when the incident happened. She fell, suffered a fracture and other injuries, was taken to the hospital. She was pretty messed up. Doctors said a compound fracture of the right lower leg bones.
Ow.
Multiple blunt injuries. She is recovering at the hospital. Last week, Air India, a plane traveling to Dubai, sustained damage after hitting the airport wall during takeoff. They all had to be diverted and taken off the plane because you can't crash into the airport and then take off.
You can't.
You
No,
can't.
you really can't. It's not like a fender bender on airplanes. They're
No.
just, they're very strict.
You don't say "my bad" and then get back in the
waiting out
cockpit.
the window? Because those windows open. Do you always find that unnerving?
That's weird.
You can reach out and order a Big Mac or whatever he wants, and just close the window and fly me at 600 miles an hour?
This is the same airline who just a few weeks ago, the pilot forgot to turn on the switch that regulated cabin pressure, and everyone had blood coming out their ears and noses.
gross.
Oops.
Yeah, I will not be flying Air India.
All right.
A 21-year-old sailor stationed at Naval Station Norfolk ran naked through the parking lots of Busch Gardens in Williamsburg.
How can you go naked to Bush? Just seems inappropriate.
According to police, Adrian Cardenas ran from the Italy parking lot to the Germany parking lot and attempted to get into several different vehicles. He maybe didn't realize that throughout Busch Gardens, there are cameras everywhere.
Okay, I don't know why. I still had him at the airport. Go on.
Busch
Right,
Gardens.
Busch Gardens. There used to be one of those right near my house. They changed it. It's just still brewing now.
Now, this guy appeared to be under the influence of narcotics and or alcohol.
I think so. Yeah.
He was captured, charged with indecent exposure, intentional damage, and obstruction of justice. Turns out you can't take all your clothes off and run around Busch Gardens.
Maybe he's not drunk. Maybe he's just Kanye. And the reason I say that is because I'm trying to turn his name into a verb. Like, do you see how weird Paul's acting? He's going totally Kanye. I like it.
I like it too.
Yeah, cool.
I think you guys listening would like money for nothing. How about $1,000 for sending a text message? It can be as easy as that. Money for nothing on KZOK. Here's how it works. Every hour of the day, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m., you've got the chance to win $1,000. When you hear the keyword, they're going to tell you what the keyword is. You text it to 200, and the cash could be yours. Your next chance to win is just a few minutes away at 9:10. So stay here for that. Plus, music, news, entertainment, and sports are all next. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's fan vote is going on now. Hasn't even been up for a week, and already 2 people are the front runners. That would be Def Leppard and Stevie Nicks.
That's a tough vote.
Well, those are the 2 leaders. You could also vote for The Cure, Devo, Janet Jackson, Kraftwerk, LL Cool J, MC5, John Prine, Radiohead, Rage Against the Machine, Roxy Music, Rufus and Shaka Khan, Todd Rundgren, or The Zombies.
Radiohead and, I forget the other one I was going to vote for because they were flying by. But there's a couple of good votes in there, and there's no real bad vote as far as I'm concerned.
Well, Def Leppard and Stevie Nicks are leading by leaps and bounds, and you have until December 9th to get your vote in online. And next year's induction class will be announced in December once all those votes are counted.
I would not have thought of Def Leppard going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a great thing. And then when they said Cheap Trick can go, all right, all rules are off, man. If Cheap Trick can be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, then a lot of things can happen.
Do you think they'll ever change the name from Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I mean, when you got somebody like LL Cool J going in, it's not rock and roll.
I'm not sure. Well, there was an interesting fight about that, about it not being rock and roll. And then when you analyze the parameters of what makes rock and roll, rap is the winner of that. But you put
Even
it
though
out
you just
there.
called it rap?
Yes. Yeah, well, you call
Clearly
rock and
not
roll
rock and roll.
music and rap music. And that was the argument.
If it was the Music Hall of Fame.
But no, it's rap music. It's rock and roll music. They call it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I think it's reasonable, but I think it's fine for really good rappers to be in there.
I think so, too. I think it just still sounds weird to call it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
They should just call it the Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, then you got to do all sorts, show tunes and...
There was an interview that was given over the weekend that got people talking that singer Michael Buble was retiring.
Thank God.
He said shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
Michael,
Well, what he actually said was shenanigans. That's what he said. Put that in my box.
He said he has no intention of retiring, that this publication misinterpreted his words. He was talking about the troubles he's had with his son, his 3-year-old son being diagnosed with liver cancer, and the difficult times he went through and how it makes you reevaluate your life and the lives of those around you. But said, despite all of this, I don't know where they got it from that I'm retiring, because I am not.
Sounds like despite all this, he knows exactly where he got it. It's terrible the thing happened to his little baby son, and he probably said, I can't take it anymore, and they took that any way they want to take it. But hang in there, mister. That's tough.
His Christmas specials are awesome.
Hey, my impression of him was better than I thought. I thought I was just being annoying,
pretty good.
but apparently I'm pretty good.
The Rock has a new athletic competition series called the Titan Games, and we now know when we can watch it. It'll be premiering on NBC January 2nd. Now, this premiere date was announced alongside a trailer on Twitter, which features The Rock describing how contestants will be put to the test. The clip features competitors taking part in a number of challenges that are inspired by The Rock's intense workouts and all the struggles he has experienced in life, including having to use a sledgehammer to break a wrecking ball. He said, Titans aren't born, they are made right here.
Why is that something he encountered in life? Having to use a sledgehammer to break a wrecking ball?
Back before The Rock was The Rock as we know and love him, he had to work, and part of that is construction work.
Yeah.
Where you break wrecking balls with sledgehammers?
are going to stay a little bit aghast at that he broke wrecking balls with a sledgehammer. I think it's something you say when you're a wrestler.
Right. And I don't think he did have to work. So he was a wrestler before he was a movie star.
Right.
But before that, he was a professional football player. And before that, he was a college athlete. I don't know. There was a lot of time that The Rock spent breaking wrecking balls with sledgehammers.
Oh, yes,
like
he
the common
did.
man.
And
Yeah, because we all do that before we make it.
Exactly.
Before we make it big. By the way, it seems if you're hip to like the Ninja Warrior type shows, this is going to be really good.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
Although his video for it or his promo for it, it's a little cheesy.
Yeah.
What do they call the Titan Games?
Yes.
All right. Are you ready for the Titan Games? And then he does some stuff, and then he talks like that some more, and it's very odd and disconcerting. Don't talk like that. You're a cutie little muscle man.
Tara Reid, I think you guys refer to her as a hot mess.
Yeah.
The The actress
A
Tara
little more
Reid.
mess
I would
these
say
days.
I would not say no to her.
Yeah.
I'm a single man in a bar and she's drunk and drooling at the bar next to me.
And
I'm
she
thinking,
is.
I'm thinking winner. All she has to do is be aware of her faculties, and I think she's a big winner for a happy hour.
Well, Tara Reid, probably best known
it's a
for
happy
American
hour.
Pie and Sharknado.
Yeah.
Or her boobie falling out at the Academy Awards.
She was on a Delta flight from LAX to New York and did not like her seat, complained so much about not getting a pillow that they kicked her off the plane.
So she's still drinking.
The pilot, after pushing back from the gate, announced, "I am turning this plane around." And she was told that she had to leave. She deplaned with her dog. And she says she thought she had a window seat and was very upset that that wasn't the case. And she
First
also,
class or coach?
this looks to me to be coach.
Good. That makes me feel better.
She also said she was cramped in her seat because the woman in front of her had put her seat recline down. Wow. Which is her right to do. Well, they took Tara Reid off the plane and put her on an alternate flight.
You getting her net worth or something there, Paul?
Yeah,
Because
I'm
I see your
trying
fingers
to.
are moving.
Trying to find her net worth. 2
4
million.
million.
2 million, yeah.
And that's all Sharknado money.
Yeah.
She didn't have a dime left.
I mean, she must have a teensy bit from The Big Lebowski.
Why?
Because she wouldn't. That movie just keeps on showing.
They
and
play
being
it all
put
the
in
time.
I'll bring in
theaters.
my Hots and Corvette summer checks for 11 cents, and you'll see that's not a way to get rich.
Yeah.
Andrew Dice Clay is in A Star Is Born.
And great.
Everybody
good.
says that he is great. in
Great.
this. And he had such a good time filming it. He said, "I don't think I can ever be in another movie."
Yeah, that's probably true.
Except he's already back for another movie.
Oh.
He is going to be in a documentary, which is, let's see, who is this documentary person? This is something called, I can't find the name of this. I just lost the name of this documentary.
But it's not about him. It's about someone else.
Yeah, it's a cross between Rocky Horror and On the Waterfront. Some parts of this will be animated, and other parts will be comprised of footage of Andrew Dice Clay that he has from Super 8s to the early years of his career.
Yeah, weird.
And I liked him in the early days of his career, but I don't like it animated and a bunch of crap. He's a weird dude, man. I was actually brought into a meeting by a producer. I had no reason or even right to be in what was Andrew Dice Clay's meeting.
Yeah.
And the guy just said, "You have to come in here with me, man. He's so crazy. He scares me. Can you?" And it's like, he's way bigger than me, so I'm flattered that I'm your bodyguard.
Right.
But I go in, and he immediately starts weeping. And I mean, seriously, not like that. Like, and then the show, and then I got my start. Like that.
Wow.
And then they gave him the show. And you saw it was pretty popular on HBO for a little while.
Well, Dice, yeah.
This appears to be a documentary about his life, but it's a cross between Rocky Horror and On the Waterfront with some animation.
I'll tell you what bothered me. Derek pointed out today that Weird Al Yankovic plays the accordion and has a star on the Walk of Fame. And my response is, that guy deserved. You play an accordion and get on the Hollywood Walk. That's for real. But I'd be sad if Andrew Dice Clay has one.
I can't imagine he
doubt
does.
it.
I can. Have you seen some of the
Derek.
people we've said, "Hey, Danny, this guy just got a star"?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I want him to, but I can't imagine he
Why?
does. I don't know. Just because Andrew Dice Clay has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, everybody can get one. Danny's going to get one next.
I don't see
Right?
anything
This is an
about
odd way for this to be going, man.
All right, let's investigate this more, but give people a chance to win $1,000 by texting in.
Yeah, let's do that right now. It doesn't appear that he has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Let's take a look at sports.
Sports.
Sports brought to you by Bradley Johnson Attorneys. If you're facing a DUI, call 1-800-DUI-OA. That's 1-800-DUI-OA. The Sounders have a match tomorrow versus Orlando City, 4:30. And in baseball action, yesterday the Brewers beat the Dodgers 4-0 and took a 2-1 series lead. Game 3 between the Red Sox and Astros happens today, 2:09 start time. That series is tied. If you're not rooting for any of the teams, well, you're rooting for someone to steal a base because Taco Bell's popular Steal a Base, Steal a Taco promotion is returning. As in previous years, the first player to successfully steal a base during the World Series gets everybody a free Doritos Locos taco.
Yum.
You'll be able to pick that up on November 1st. So we are rooting for steals, base stealing. One of the Seattle Mariners can now call himself American. Nelson Cruz revealed in an Instagram post yesterday that he was just sworn in as a U.S. citizen.
Very cool.
He made the announcement and said, next up, registering to vote.
Yeah. Now, he still can't be president, but he can be a senator, right?
I think so, yeah. I think that's correct.
You don't have to be naturalized. You just have to be a citizen.
Yeah.
It was a good night for Wisconsin sports fans because after a back-and-forth game, the Green Bay Packers were able to defeat the San Francisco 49ers. A last-second comeback, and it was a game-winning field goal as time expired. The Seahawks are on a bye this week, return to action the following Sunday. Another story raising some eyebrows in the sports world. When you think of sports and Kenya, what do you think of?
Running.
Running, yeah.
What? Not ice hockey?
No.
No.
I do not think ice hockey.
And not bobsled. That's Jamaica.
I think running away from lions should be another totally awesome Olympic event. And they'd probably do great at that, too.
I think the insurance waiver might be a bit of a problem.
No, you got nothing.
Turns out Kenya has a hockey team. Some of the players there were so wrapped watching the Olympics. They were so
wrapped were they?
into watching
That's how that works on that one.
Really?
hockey that they got their own team together. However, they only have one ice hockey team. They don't have anybody else to play.
Or ice. They don't have ice, right?
No, they don't have ice. Not naturally, anyway.
Yeah.
Not naturally occurring.
Well, these guys were flown to Canada thanks to Sidney Crosby and Nathan MacKinnon. They got together, these two hockey players, Pittsburgh, Sidney Crosby, a legend.
I think you said Cindy. Let's go. Oh, wait. That's
I
Sydney,
usually call him Cindy. Tim Hortons, the coffee donut place.
Yeah.
They got together with Sidney Crosby and Nathan MacKinnon. They flew the Kenya Ice Lions to Toronto. They got all the teammates together and surprised them with new gear, all traditional hockey gear made by CCM, personalized jerseys at each player's locker, and then they played them on the ice.
And they destroyed them. The Canadians just embarrassed them.
Did
it was
they?
like 37-0. I don't know.
Why would you do that? Why would you invite them and then do that to them?
Did they embarrass them?
Oh. Why do I listen? Here's the difference between you and Gary Delabate. He doesn't just sit and lie all the time on the radio.
It's sarcasm. I got you, Paul.
Oh, not me. I thought they creamed him.
Yeah, 37-0 was the actual score.
The captain, Ben Azagare,
Yes,
said, this is
I
a
have no
dream
idea.
to be in Canada, to play our first game in full gear. This has been amazing. To see Sidney Crosby show up. Sidney is my favorite player. To see him come through the door wearing our jersey, I felt like I was in heaven.
That's got to be awesome, to play with your heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and they didn't have to do this.
Maybe. How'd it go?
Oh, they didn't disclose a score. I think
They
they were
don't
just
even keep
messing
score.
around.
It's just-
Yeah.
Oh, you're not even playing if you don't keep score.
Right.
That's like an everybody participated trophy.
They said, Sidney Crosby said, even in a place like Kenya where you think that there isn't ice, there's passion for the game. That's how far hockey can reach. And he didn't have to do this. He certainly didn't have to go out of his way to fly a team in from Kenya.
But did you say they don't have ice?
That's Sidney Crosby saying a place where they don't have, as you said, Danny,
No
naturally
frozen
occurring
lakes, yeah.
ice.
Oh, but they do have ice. They practice on
They
actual
have to
ice. All right,
to
that's what I
make
would think.
an ice rink. But
Well, some people during the summer months and things like that practice on skates.
Mhm.
Even cross-country skiers often practice on skates.
yeah, nice story in the sports
Yeah,
world.
God bless you guys.
Sports brought to you by Bradley Johnson Attorneys. If you're facing a DUI, call 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
That's 1-800-DUI-AWAY, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get caught. So here's the thing. Because I did not expect us to be wrapping up, let me just introduce Steve Slayton right now, who's going to come in, going to take over the realms. It's probably not a bad idea, so let's get out of his way. Bye.